What's going on, Internet? The Black Hokage here, aka TBH, and to be honest, I'd like to welcome you all back to the Gaming Illuminati podcast. We are the Enlightened Gamers, and you're now tuned into episode 152. If you're watching the video version of the show at youtube.com/GI updates, know the show is available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all other major podcast platforms. Be sure to rate the show 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. We need your 5-star rating because it helps push us in the algorithm and it can bring in new listeners. Also, feel free to follow the podcast on social media. We drop daily content on our pages. We're available on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. And our handle on every social media page is at GI Updates. Link in the description box below. Now, allow me to introduce you to my co-host, the first of which can be found on his new YouTube channel, JG's Time Capsule, where he apps 24/7. UTX JG Design. Say what up to the people.
What's going on? What's going on? It's still Black History Month. Shout out to Vince Staples. We still the best doing this right now. So tap in with us. Tap in with my new channel. Again, JG's Time Capsule. I'll be ranting about things that you may not catch on the stream because, you know, I stream at weird times. I know that a lot of y'all aren't available, but, you know, we got some good topics. And apparently I'm very knowledgeable on some things, as you told me in the comments. So we'll keep this going, right?
That was probably some of the blackest shit you ever said. What's the name? You almost didn't sound Puerto Rican for a moment.
And I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all.
And my second co-host, he spends the majority of his free time these days shit posting Helldivers II memes. Eat those. Say what up to the people.
I just got into the servers.
Oh, God. So now he's going to contribute 10% to the podcast.
You look back at my reflection. I literally just got in when you said that. I literally just got in.
That's crazy. This man has a problem.
It took 10 minutes. What's up, everybody?
Now, if your eyes work correctly, you will have noticed we have a fourth camera. Well, sort of. We're joined by a special guest. He's a content creator on YouTube who's most famously known for glazing lollipop chainsaw. It's no other than DX. Say what up to the people, man.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
For sure, for sure. And there will be a link in the description box below to his content if you guys want to check him out. Before we get into the show, friendly reminder, join our Discord, discord.gg/GI updates. It's totally free. Also, keep in mind, we do all different types of stuff like giveaways, consultations for content creators, watch parties. Once again, that's discord.gg/GI updates. Link in the description box below. Without further ado, let's get into the leading conversation. Since last podcast, a game that I did not I knew it was gonna have like its little, I thought it was gonna be a little moment. It's having a big moment. Almost not quite there, but almost comparable to Palworld, I think. But it's still a blessing and it's still dope to see because this is coming from a small development studio out of Sweden. We're talking about Helldivers II. It is a new third-person shooter, co-op based, very challenging. A lot of different enemy types. And Ethos has been super addicted to it. That's why he keeps memeing it up. So I'm actually going to give you the floor on this one. Give us the good, bad, and the ugly on Helldivers II, man.
I love it. It's basically that experience you get when you watch like war movies or like the clone troopers from Star Wars. It's the feeling of feeling like a grunt fighting in against like an impossible force that's like impossible to stop. And the best way I can describe this game is like it feels like the indomitable human will, like the simulator, where you are with a band of brothers and you're just fighting literal like hell spawn itself. Reminds me a little bit of like Warhammer 40K. It's a co-op game. It's purely PvE. There's no PvP elements, and you just drop onto a planet. You're fighting Terminators, or who are the automatons, or you're fighting Terminids, which are like bugs, big bugs, and your job is just to spread democracy throughout the galaxy and liberty. And that's how. And the way we do that is by bombing them to shit. That's how we do it in Helldivers II, and we do a damn good job at it. That's the gist of it.
For sure, for sure. Have you had a chance to get some time with it, DX?
No, none at all. My exposure to the game is primarily just videos on Twitter and some gameplay. It looks amazing.
For sure, for sure, for sure. And do you have any kind of like from the outside looking in, do you have any questions about the game for like somebody like Ethos who is a tryhard and a sweat because you both are on the opposite ends of the spectrum?
Sure. How does weapon scaling and damage work in the game? Because there's no numbers. I've seen clips that don't show any numbers. It's just combat. So is it just like sort of a base? Your weapons have a base amount of damage and you just shoot?
Ethos. He asked you a question and you walked away.
Sorry, totally. What's up? What was your question?
Oh, good lord, bro. This is amazing.
If you couldn't visually see, someone randomly was at my door. I was like, "Who the hell is this at my door? What's up?" It was a package. What's up? I don't know why it was so late, but yeah.
No.
What was the question?
How does like weapon damage work in the game? Is it? Are
Oh,
there, like,
that's
any
the
RPG
best
mechanics,
part.
Or
There's no RNG. There's no looter shooter mechanics. It's just straight up. Like they don't even show you numbers of what your gun does. It's just you just put lead into them and you just pray you put enough lead into them to kill them. There's like dismemberment, so it's like kind of like Dead Space where you can shoot different limbs and stuff for like the bugs and also the robots, so you can dismantle certain ones and there's like weak points on them, so you can do more damage to them if you hit like behind the robot's back or something like that. So there's a little bit of like teamwork that you have to do in that aspect of you distract them, I'll swoop around behind them and I'll just shoot them in the back with like a shotgun or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. There's like no like looter shooter elements whatsoever. There's no like, this is my epic gun and this is my, rare gun, and the epic gun does this special like exotic weapon per. Yeah, there's like none of that in the game at all.
I think the thing that surprised me most about the game is it looks better than like, I feel like YouTube doesn't sell the game very well. Like the lighting in the game is very well and the textures are pretty good. So I feel like YouTube videos compress the hell out of the game and it looks much better when you're actually playing it on a monitor. But overall, I really like the game. I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't even really on my radar. Like I saw like trailers for it and then it came out and like everybody's talking about it. You're gonna stream it. I'm like, all right, bro, I give it one chance. And what I found, I was like, okay. I was like, I get it. I think the best thing it has going for it is it's like the polar opposite of Suicide Squad. I feel like Suicide Squad's co-op just exists. This is a co-op game where the co-op serves a purpose. You have to team fire in this game, because like Ethos was saying earlier, you don't really know how much damage you need to do, especially against like these heavy enemies, and they can mollywop your ass real quick in the game. Because although like in the description it says you play a elite soldier, but I feel like they're being sarcastic.
No, it's a joke. It's definitely a joke.
You're playing a grunt.
You're a literal grunt.
Yeah, you're playing a grunt, so you have to team fire in this game. You have to coordinate, and especially have to coordinate because there's friendly fire in the game, which leads to like a lot of funny moments. So like that's, I feel like, is the value. It feels like you're kind of overcoming things, and then just kind of the constant different little situations, the little what's the word, the objectives in the game. I feel like a lot of people don't talk enough about that. The game does have objectives. You're not just shooting aliens. You have to escort different like civilians, or you have to download like some data from like a computer or something like that. So like there's different things that you have to do, and I feel like that's engaging. For me, the issue is that the game is very janky, and I feel like this game is getting a big pass because it's a small studio, but I'm like, the jankiness is not small janky, it's big jank. I'm talking about, we got 1 hour wait times to get into the servers. The climbing animations are weird. The game constantly crashes.
Like a skill issue to me.
It's a skill. Yeah, see, look, he's making excuses. But if it was a Ubisoft game, people would throw it under the bus.
How much Ubisoft paying you for this episode?
Oh man.
Oh,
because you did play Skull and Bones, right? Didn't they give you Skull and Bones?
I got that for free. From
yeah, but didn't they give that to you?
No, they didn't. First of all, come on.
Who gave that to you?
Hey,
You know why? Hold on. We talked about it last
Ubisoft is not giving me free copies of the game. What's the name? What's the name? Kai gave it to me. Kai, she was like, I don't want this shit. She's like, do you want the code?
Oh,
she's like, do you want the code? I was like, sure. That's the only reason I played Skull and Bones. So first of all, the Ubisoft paying me accusations is funny, because when we get to the Skull and Bones part, you're gonna see they definitely didn't. But what's the name? Jay, what's your take on Helldivers 2?
No, I was literally about to ask a question, which you answered. I was like, does the game have objectives? Because like every time I see a clip or something, it looks like, again, it's just a bunch of shooting going on. And and I was watching Chaos play. I was watching Ethos and they now playing one time, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I just know y'all are running around and things are coming y'all way. A lot of explosions and mines, and it was a lot going on. So I was just like, it seems interesting, but at the same time, I just have super limited time, so I'm like, I can't add this game to my list just yet. Like, I already know Final Fantasy's around the corner, so like it's other things that I'm prioritizing at this point. But I mean, the game looks fun. I don't like how you all are having problems right now with the servers, but I mean at the same time, I guess it's a blessing in disguise. I mean, obviously the developers need to get bigger servers, because I don't think that they expected Helldivers 2 to pop off as much as it did. So hopefully those issues can be mitigated soon, so that people don't have to wait as long and can actually play the game. But it's cool though. I love how a lot of people people are, hopping on this game now. And I think this is another game that it seemed like word of mouth, like, because even what DX said that, he was just watching clips or something, and like, it looks interesting. That's how I got into it too. I saw no early gameplay of it for real. Like, I saw, when it popped up in like the Sony showcases, the state of play, but actually, like, when the game came out, I was like, oh, like, people were hyping this up. They were like, man, this is like, one of the best games out. Like, look at this combat. Like, look at, everything is exploding. Like, the memes are going crazy. So I think that word of mouth is hyping this game up a lot more as well, which is, again, a good thing, because I don't think that there's any better marketing for any studio, and no matter what you're doing, than word of mouth. Word of mouth will get the job done, because I think people, trust the actual words of like somebody who's close to you, rather than just getting $1 million thrown at you just for a commercial and you don't know what the hell it is. So it's cool. I may pick it up one day, but right now I'm prioritizing other stuff. But it looks cool though. I like the what's going on in the game.
Do you agree with JG's sentiment, Ethos? Like, why do you think that this game is blowing up? Because it kind of came out of nowhere.
I think it's the memes. The game is very clever in its presentation. Like, it's basically like Starship Troopers, like the movie, where it was like it's very like playful in that regard, where it's like, oh, it's like, what if we took the concept of how like America and we like dial it up to like 100, where it's like, well, what is America? Well, we like guns and we like blowing shit up, and the military, like, fuck yeah, like that whole like bravado is what the whole game is about. But there's like really funny like writing within the game in the presentation. Like, for example, there'll be a mission where they say, we needed to take out this illegal broadcast happening on the earth. That'll be a mission. You go there and there's like, the broadcast is basically saying that like the government's lying to you, and that they created the bugs, and that they want the oil. Like, there's nice little nods and like real life like comparisons, but I think the reason like why it's like also that type of thing is because it's co-op. That's how it enhances word of mouth, is because it's one thing to just say like Elden Ring, right? Where it's like, oh, you got to play the game and da-da-da-da-da. It's so dope, right? But it's another thing when the game actually is actively encouraging you to go and get your friends to play with you, because the game wants you to play with 3 people. The game is built, like you said early on, it's designed, it's played, it's best experienced with friends. And even, which is kind of funny, even if you're a loser who has no friends, I did do some like quick plays, and when I was able to get into some random lobbies, they did. I actually found that like a lot of people were actually like really communicative, like they were willing to like go on the voice chat and they were communicating. I even ran into one random lobby and some dude was straight up role playing the entire time. Like, he was the whole 9 yards saying like, get to the evac soldier. I'll go take out that artillery. Like, I'm talking like he's full on immersed in this thing, and he's like blowing up the artillery and stuff on his own. He's sacrificed. He's like, get in here. I'm not leaving without you, soldier. Like, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I think that's really what's selling the game right now. Is it's a funny game. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. It doesn't try to like throw in your face about like constant like money microtransaction stuff. It doesn't do that at all. And the game's just it's fundamentally just a fun game. It's designed very well. It has a great presentation, and because it's co-op, it works very well, and it wants you to go and tell your friends about it so that they can pick up the game, so that you can experience those experiences with your friends. That's why I think it's blown up the way that, exactly like JG said.
So TLDR, co-op is back?
Co-op is back. Co-op. I'm not gonna lie, this is the most fun co-op game I've played since Left 4 Dead. I think I haven't had this much fun playing co-op since Left 4 Dead.
That's a long time.
I would genuinely say that. Yeah. I think I'm trying to think of a game between this point where I feel like I had that much fun. I can't think of one that I think.
Don't you have the hoodie on?
This. Now you know damn well that ain't a PvE game. Come on now.
Oh, you're just strictly talking about PvE. I thought we were just talking about playing with friends.
No. Yeah. I'm strictly talking about PvE experience, like playing against like AI, not like PvP. Play as a squad and play against another team, not like that, but purely like from like playing against like zombies or playing against some sort of like massive threat. This feels like this generation. I'm not saying it's at that point now. I'm saying it could definitely become this generation's like Left 4 Dead. I read somewhere on Twitter how the devs said that they've already been planning a lot of stuff, and it seems like it too. They've already planned a lot of content already out that the game hasn't shown yet. One example of this was how literally I woke up 2 days ago and people were tweeting out and saying, "Yo, we need help. We getting messed up on the front." I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" The Twitter was posting news articles saying that the damn Terminators were jumping us, and we were like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Yo, get up." So everybody was like hopping on the game trying to stop like an offensive. Like the AI actually was like attacking it. For people who don't know, the game is all like part of a shared universe. So it's not like an MMO where everyone like can see everybody, but it's like when people are actively playing the game,
you're playing a unit, part of a big ass platoon, basically.
You're actually playing as like an actual massive army, massive force that's actively moving and liberating planets and taking them over for humanity and pushing threats back, while the AI is also like, think of it like a game master. It's planning how these like AI are like responding to how we act, and there's like limited time events that happen where we have to defend a certain planet from a threat, or they're going to introduce. And they said in the future, they said every Tuesday of every month. They said they're going to be every Thursday, so I think once a week, they're going to be dropping in new stuff into the game, whether that's like new gameplay stuff, like new guns, new stratagems, new like enemy variations might appear, new biomes, new maps, all this sort of stuff. They said that they're hiding a lot. There's a lot of stuff that's actually hidden in the game right now that's going to be turning on in intervals. And I have a feeling, this is my take, but they said that they've already shown and teased that there's going to be mechs in the game. They've already shown like gameplay of them. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to have an event where, to push back the robots, they're going to bring in requisitions for mechs, and then we're going to be able to use them to fight back the mechs. That's my idea. And apparently, allegedly, there's a third faction that hasn't shown itself yet that will appear on the map sometime in the future and surprise us as like another faction we have to fight against. So yeah, apparently they got some gas on the way. If they do all that, like I said, if all that is true and it's not false, I think this game could end up being like really awesome, like how I felt Left 4 Dead was back in the day.
That's a bold statement. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like, I feel like I can't refute your point about like, it is a really good co-op game, and like I understand why people like it. I can't think of another one that's like,
Anthem could have been this. I just want to say that Anthem could have been this.
You're not helping the EA shill argument.
Anthem could have been this, bro. They could have been this. They didn't mess it up, man.
One thing I will say, outside of the technical issues that I had, I'm not like the biggest fan. I got used to it, but I'm not like the biggest fan. People are gonna get mad at me, but I didn't like the stratagem thing. You have to do like Naruto.
Yeah, we know you're old.
I don't like doing it, bro.
You can't do that shit.
Just to throw a damn grenade, you gotta do a Naruto jutsu sign. I was like, I don't know. What's the point of that?
That's part of the game. It's part of the tension. They don't want you to be able to just throw off.
I get the point of it. Yeah,
they want you to be. You're stressing while things are blowing up.
Here's the issue. So another issue I have with the game is the game does not have a dodge roll. So what you have to do is you have to run in circles and hope your teammate covers your ass, or you're gonna die. So what adds to that stress is the fact you have to do a Tekken input, a Street Fighter input, in order to do an orbital strike or a threat. It's fucking annoying to me. I was like, this is not really fun to me. I got used to it, but I was just like, I don't want to press down, F left. Just to revive somebody, you got to do like a 5-button configuration. Down, left, right, F right. I'm like, bro, come on.
You better learn those inputs.
Hey, man, hold on, man.
You better learn them inputs.
Yeah, see? Wow. They do give you a cheat sheet. It's at the top of your left hand.
You don't have to memorize it.
Yeah, you don't have to memorize it, but it's still annoying because you're in the middle of a fight. You're getting ran over by hundreds of aliens, and you got to do an input. Somebody, I had said that. I said that in my first impressions video, right? And somebody in the comment section who was like, "Good thing you said that. You know, this wasn't like a full review because you saying you don't like the stratagems. It's a big part of the core gameplay." And I'm like, it's my opinion. It's a review. Like, I'm allowed to dislike it. Like, it's like another thing I have. Okay, another issue I have with this game is too, the community's kind of
like a hater.
I don't care.
Oh, here you go.
I don't care. The community's kind of annoying. You're not allowed to criticize the game. I feel like
you're not.
Yeah, you're not. He's joking, but you're not.
You gotta wait a month. You gotta wait a month. Is
that what it is? Is that what it is?
Yes. You have to let the honey. You forgot. It's the honeymoon period, just like Call of Duty. Remember how back in the day we used to play Call of Duty? You can't criticize it in the first week, the first month. Got to give it a little bit. Let it nourish a little bit. And you can criticize.
Here come the videos a year later.
This game wasn't that good.
Was Helldivers 2 overhyped? In-depth analysis like that. Yeah, I think it's a good game. I just like the way people are talking about it, like it's perfect. I'm like, it has some issues.
Jokes aside, it's not perfect. It definitely has jank. I agree with you on that. I do think that sometimes I feel like certain angles where I feel like I should be able to like mantle over certain things doesn't
it's weird to climb in the game.
It's weird, but like sometimes it's my own mistake because I forget to press the space bar when I'm jumping because you have to input that to make your character
when I be hitting the jump button, it still be doing that shit. And
I do want to jump.
It makes
I feel like it's the same thing with God of War. I want to be able to jump. My character to jump. I want them to be able to jump.
The only way I can articulate it is sometimes the lack of dodge roll and the climbing and stuff like that. It makes it feel like the game is artificially difficult, and it's not actually.
It feels
difficult.
like it's intentionally. I feel like it's part of the bit that you're playing a grunt, and they don't want you to feel like a super soldier. But because, like, for example, like, you know how they do the dolphin dive, and it's good, like but it's not like a Call of Duty dolphin dive. But then, like, if you dive too far, it then turns into a ragdoll animation. You screw yourself, and you're just like, and then you have to take like a second to get back up. Like that sort of stuff where I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if like maybe in the future there'll be a perk or something they add to the game that will enhance that. I do agree with you about the dodge roll. I wish that was in the game. I feel like that would drastically help me from some of the times where I get killed. And there's a bug. No one can convince me. I don't want to hear nothing about no skill issue. There is something weird going on with the robot difficulty where I was playing that shit for the past 2 days, and I'm telling you, it does not feel like the difficulty I'm playing on. Like, it feels way harder. I think it's a bug. I'm pretty sure some people confirmed it was a bug. I don't know who said that.
Didn't you say you're not allowed to criticize the game?
No,
I'm a developer. I'm an exception to the rule.
I think
tell him DX is in the fine print. Tell him.
I think the saving grace of this game is it's $40, so it's like you can't.
Yeah,
I think that's why people are giving it a pass so much. I get that point. And then the battle
pass.
If
this was a $70 game,
they'd be on it.
They'd be slandering. Yeah, they'd be on it. Yeah.
That's another thing that we forgot to mention. They entry point of $40. Like, people are, they're complaining about $70 games. This game is $40, and it's a co-op game. So I think that's another reason why people are like so into it now.
Yeah, I would say this is a good game, but also understand what you're getting into, because I feel like there's so much hype with the memes right now. I don't see a lot of fair criticism of the game. Understand the game is a little bit janky, and as long as you're cool with that, you're gonna have some fun with it. That's all I'm saying. I feel like it's a disservice to people who haven't played it. Like, JG was unaware of the doing the jutsu sign stuff. Like, there's things going on. I feel like people should be.
The best part, you don't tell them about that.
Oh, man,
you let them find out in real time.
I'm gonna get mad too. I'm old man gamer now, so I'll get mad at that too.
Overall, I give it a thumbs up though. I still say check the game out. It's cool.
I say check
like
it out.
It's fun with friends. Let's keep the conversation moving. I actually changed the notes around. I was like, we're talking about a co-op game. Let's talk about a co-op game that people don't like. It got shat on. It's been a couple weeks now. So I think we can actually have a fair, healthy conversation about it, because the week that this game came out, if you weren't shitting on it, you were a corporate shill. And I'm talking about Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. The internet has moved on, but we haven't, because, our podcast, we only do it like twice a month. So we get to it when we get to it. You got the floor, DX. Give us the good, bad, and ugly on Suicide Squad.
Yeah, if you were around the first week of this game's release, or even pre-release because it had early access, you would think that it's the worst game in the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. But it's not really. I've played it. I've played about I think 15 hours of it, and it's not nearly as bad as people said. It's not the greatest game ever, but many of the issues that people were talking about are either blown out of proportion or just complete misinformation, which is no surprise. But I've been having fun with it. It's like I said, it's not a game for everyone. It's got the looter shooter, this weapon has this rarity, does this effect thing going, and I think you mentioned that the co-op as well doesn't feel like it has much purpose, and I would agree with that. But as a game on its own, it's not that bad, and I can't sit here and say it's the worst game I've ever played. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stems from what happens in the story.
Sure.
A lot of people are really upset that in a game called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, you kill the Justice League, and specifically one character.
No, you're not lying though.
Which is mind-blowing to me, because it was on the box. So I actually beat the game just the other day, and so I saw that moment, and I was like, it did nothing for me. I don't know, maybe because I touched grass, it just didn't bother me that person died, as well as any of the other Justice League, because I expected to kill them.
Spoiler alert.
So here's the funny thing too. Here's the funny thing. I had seen some TikToks, and it was from
I've heard people. I don't know the ending, but I know what you're talking about.
It was from Comic Story.
Outraged about endings and stuff.
It was before I had beat the game, and he was talking about a theory he had that he didn't think it was the Justice League, and he was going to like they were either like synthetic, like clones or something like that.
I've heard that. Yeah.
After I beat the game, I don't know if they're clones. I don't know what it is. But if you, it's so terribly obvious the amount of people that hated this game did not play it. Because if you play the game, I don't know if they're clones or something else. There's something going on. The story is hinting at something. There's something else going on that doesn't meet the eye. The unfortunate thing about it is they chose for it to be a live service game. And I don't want to spoil what happens in the ending. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of fucking seasons. And I'm not here to fucking, I don't know. I'll try one maybe. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the end of the story. It's the fact they broke it up into pieces. They didn't even give people a chance to actually see what they were actually trying to cook up. Because I do feel like the story is one of the stronger aspects of the game.
I'm curious. Do you guys feel like without like the idea of like, you know, there's more story to it, do you feel like what you did play felt like satisfying? Like you know how like a lot of times you'll play like a looter shooter stories and they feel very like kind of like you feel like you're getting to a certain point and it just stops and you're just like, oh, now you gotta wait for next month for when we do the next update, and you're just like, but you know, I didn't get any closure for like the main campaign. I definitely had this problem.
Yeah,
always has this problem.
The ending to the game is you don't get any good closure. And then on top of that, I think the issue with the game is I agree with DX. It's not the worst thing I ever played, but it is painfully mid. I would say it's like a 6, 5.5, like a 6. Like the way people were describing it, like you would think this game was completely unfunctional. It's very functional.
Yeah,
like,
people describe like it's a 1 or a 3.
I feel like if a game is functional at bare minimum, like it's like a 5. Like there wasn't no frame drops. I wasn't dealing with any crazy bugs or glitches or anything like that. Like small stuff, but it was very far and in few between. The biggest issue is the game is very repetitive. It's very uninspired, and I think the biggest issue I had with it is not only is there a lack of variety in the grunt enemies that you fight, but the boss fights.
No,
the boss fights is actually the biggest criminal part of this game. There's
remember how I said last week where I was like,
if the boss fights were creative, I would have given it a pass.
When I was defending it, yeah. Remember how I was like last one when we were Gene? I was literally our last episode, and I said with Gene, I was like, I wanted to defend it because I was like, I saw some sparks of something that could have been interesting, like with the whole Batman in the museum, and I was hoping they do more of that. Does that happen more throughout the game, or is
that's
it
the best part of the game? That's
no, I agree.
Hold on, man.
That's the best part.
No, TBA. Oh God.
Did you know? Come on.
I want to spoil it. I just don't want to piss off the comments because I want to tell you what happens. I want to tell you what happens.
I don't even care about the ending. I'm saying there's nothing as good as that whole cool thing where Batman stalks you in the museum for the rest of the game after that. There's like nothing.
Bro, the final boss fight is the Flash boss fight.
Wait, what?
It's just a different version of it. It's just a motherfucker running around. I was like, bruh.
I don't think that gamers like this type of game. This is a very specific kind of game. The game that I link it back to is, I know that a lot of people didn't like this. It was Agents of Mayhem. This plays exactly like Agents of Mayhem. It is DC's version of that, and I don't think that gamers like games where you can swap between characters and all of the fights are as repetitive as they are, and what's meant to break up the monotony and the repetitiveness is the character abilities. I don't think that people like this sort of game. I swear I've never seen this formula done successfully, and I think this game is the opposite of Helldivers, where they set it up to fail with that price tag. I think that if this was $40, people wouldn't be complaining nearly as much as they are about it.
Or even free to play.
Yeah,
that would have been ideal. I think it should be free to play.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if it does go free to play, because I mean, like the when I checked the other day, the servers, they only had like a couple thousand people playing them.
What's the end game? Is there an end game? Like, is there like raids
there's
or
an
something?
end game, but it's like it's hard to talk about it without spoiling anything.
Spoiling? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. You'll tell me later then. Okay.
But
that's a little disappointing because I literally was trying to defend it last time. Like,
I'll tell you this
I'm
much.
hoping it'd be some good here.
I'll tell you this much. It's a minor spoiler with the end game, and it could end up becoming a joke. If my theory is correct, there's going to be at least 13 seasons. And
yeah.
So so you're with me, DX. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're gonna get to 13.
With the numbers that this game is doing, I'd be surprised if they got to 3.
I agree. I was gonna say the same exact number. I agree.
Damn.
We may not ever see the true ending to this game, unfortunately, because they chose for it to be a live service game. But
oh man,
I will say that in terms of like games like this that are co-op and looter shooter, I do feel like the story is kind of woven into the game very competently. Like
I
the
agree.
story feels like it's presented like you're playing a single player game.
Usually those games suck at that most of the time.
Right. Usually these games suck at that, and this game I think actually does it pretty well. But I think this needed to be a slam dunk, and it isn't. And I think what ultimately might kill the game is the fact that it's a live service game, because this game I track games on the Steam global sellers list. This game sunk like a rock. This game was at number 7 at its debut, and then it sunk. It sunk. It's getting outsold right now by the Tomb Raider remasters that came out.
Oh wow.
And she's
So that
got
means
blocky boobs.
there's gonna be a. So that means what? It was 50% off probably in less than. Man, because I think that was like how Anthem was, right?
In order for this game to survive,
sunk really fast.
In order for
how
this
did
game
they
to survive,
save it?
they're gonna have to go free to play. I think.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Screw a price cut.
Can they still do that? Like, how
do you think that
do you
Warner
think the
Brothers
game
would
is
even do that?
possible? Yeah. Do you think that's even
They're
possible?
gonna have to
with the way
reward the
game's
people
designed?
who bought the game with some type of in-game item that nobody else can get. That's the only way they can get around this shit. Because otherwise, people would be mad.
Is the game designed in such a way that free to play could work, or
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
it's possible? Okay, I was curious to see.
I don't think they'd have to like redesign anything about the game. I think that people, the price of entry is just too high for the type of game that this is, and the quality of the game. Honestly, like I think that's the biggest part. I think if like this was a much better game, I don't think people would have that much of a problem paying $70 for it. But as it stands, no, that's a very hard sell for most people.
Yeah, the main missions are so uninspired. It was a lot of just like me turning my brain off, which, you know, at certain points, I'm not gonna lie, I was having fun because I do think there's space.
Me too, yeah.
I think there's space for a Dynasty Warriors, and that's what it kind of feels like, a third person shooting Dynasty Warriors. It was just a lot of shit on the screen, blow it up. And then there was other times where I'm like, all right, I feel disengaged, I'm not being challenged. And it was probably like halfway through the game because the enemy variety just never changes. And then also, I don't know how you feel about this, DX, but there were like side quests in the game where the game is already limited in terms of the combat it gives you. It would limit you even more. There's missions where it's like, you can only kill him with poison. You can only kill him with headshots. It was fucking annoying to me. I'm like, bro, the game's too fast paced.
That's the problem with this formula, because every game I've played that does this sort of thing has this sort of this same sort of problem of repetition, and the way that they break up the repetition is in like the slightest way possible. Like in this game, it's you can only deal damage to certain opponents using certain things like grenades, and it's like that doesn't really differentiate the missions. That actually just makes it more annoying because you're limited. It goes out of its way to limit your arsenal of weapons. I don't know how or why this game was pitched in the way it was pitched. I don't understand. Like there were so many more options to do a live service game than this that I'm not sure how this game came to be in the state it's in.
I don't get how you could have, because if I think about it, right, this and Gotham Knights were both being developed around the same like span time, right? Like they both probably were both being pitched to Warner Bros. Or Warner Bros. Said we want it, because I know Warner Bros. Has been talking about how they want to make more live service games.
I think
so Warner Bros. Just say, hey, we want 2 Batman focus, or we want 2 DC.
No, I think Suicide Squad's been in development longer than Gotham Knights.
I think so as well.
But they both were. Well, so that's the thing is, and I'm curious, do you think behind the scenes Suicide Squad was originally going to be like how the OG Batman trilogy was going to be, where it's
just
like
a fun co-op action adventure game?
Maybe it was a co-op, like a Helldivers. Maybe it was supposed to be originally a co-op game that was going to be the next, like that was Rocksteady's next like evolution of their formula. Was Perhaps, they were going to take Arkham Knight and let you, because they kind of experimented with that with at the end of Arkham Knight by letting you play other characters. Like that was the natural progression of, now we're going to have you be able to play with your friends in the same universe of the way that you love it. And then maybe Warner Bros. Came in, was like, turn into a live service so that we can get more money, because that's the big thing at the time. That's what all the games were doing.
You see, I don't know, because I feel like this game, it doesn't even have to be a live service. Like the type of game that it is not even suited to be a live service game, because all it's doing is basically extending the amount of content in the same way that any other game would. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me that this is a live service game, because all you do, like, I guess the idea is that you get to play as more characters, and there's more boss encounters and gameplay that'll come with new seasons, but you can do that with any game. That's not like how the traditional live service model is with a lot of these games with new maps and stuff like that. That's just something that feels like they've tacked on to this game and the formula that it's doing. I really don't understand why this is a live service game.
Also, the way that they went about it, making it a third-person action shooter, I feel like that limits. Okay, they're adding new characters, and some of those characters leaked. I think one of them was like Deathstroke. What's going to be different about him? He's got a sword and a gun too. Like
he's gonna use the sword, and
the physical sucks in this game.
They limited themselves very badly, because one of the things that you can say about that Avengers game that came out is that all of those characters actually played uniquely. Like if you played Thor, it was nothing like playing the Hulk, right? In this game, playing every character has the same base sort of gunplay. So there's no
they all have guns.
It like if you play Harley Quinn, the biggest difference is really the traversal. Like that's it. There's like there's no clear distinction between her and I've been playing Boomerang. It's just like, I mean, their special abilities maybe, but that's not really enough to differentiate those characters in a meaningful way. So I don't know the new characters that they're gonna add. I'm not really seeing how they're gonna attract a larger player base or even people to come back to the game.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything, and that's what I said before. Like, I hate it. Like when they said that this was gonna be a live server game, I'm like, nah, I'm just totally not into it. The whole live service thing, the whole looter shooter aspect. I said from day one, this should have been a just standard co-op action adventure linear experience. Like they should have just left it at that.
Yeah, I agree.
And then maybe tacked on some DLC. You know, maybe some extra characters.
Just tell a good
done
story.
with it. Have we not learned anything from Avengers? Like Avengers did the same thing, and like I said, DX, you gave up that. At least they play uniquely, but that game died very quickly. You tried the live service stuff, it failed, and now we're doing it again. You kind of try to dip your toes with Arkham Knight. People were upset at that because again they didn't want the whole looter aspect of that game. And the fact that it wasn't true co-op until you tack it on, and then even when you tack it on, it becomes more of a survivor type of experience. It's not we're going through the city and doing the game playing the whole main missions or even the DLC aspect. It just ended up being survivor aspect, and then you finally give us quote unquote true co-op game, and then it ends up still being a live service game, and it still didn't meet up to the expectations that at least I was looking for. And a good co-op game. So now we're here and you're telling me that this game has the potential to have 13 seasons. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I guess the only positive thing that we can say is at least on Steam the reviews have changed to very positive. I'm not sure if that was people actually trying out the game, regardless of what IGN or other creators have made videos shitting on the game. I don't know if that's the fact, but a lot of these comments I'm actually seeing is just wait till the game goes on sale. Like the game is good, but wait until it goes on sale. It's in that middle of the road.
I would agree with that.
7 type of aspect. Yeah, and I agree with that too. Like wait for it to go on sale. But if you all are now saying that this game should be free to play, I'm like, yeah, that further drives the point that if you're going to go all in on this live service, that maybe you should make it free to play, especially if you're considering going that far within the life cycle and trying to either get a new audience or bring people back to it.
Yeah,
Avengers has done irreparable damage to gaming.
I think what it is it's
and I think superhero games are always under a stigma from this point forward because of Avengers. That I think if this point, anytime a superhero game gets revealed, people think it's going to be bad. I think because of Avengers, I think that game has done
outside of Spider-Man
brain damage.
Outside of
Spider-Man. Spider-Man being the only exception. I feel like people will always
he's on his own island.
Yeah, he's on his own island. But I think every other superhero game, like think about it, when that Wonder Woman game gets revealed
on the leaks.
Yeah,
Wolverine
the gameplay, some people were shitting on it.
It's
not good. It's not done. What are you doing?
And I guarantee you, because I know DX, you're probably excited for it too, but I guarantee you, I put money on it. I put a parlay on it. I bet you when that Wonder Woman game gets revealed, I guarantee you, people are going to take the whole thing. It's going to be shit. It's going to be a live service game, even though they said it's not going to be. It's going to be a bad game. I can feel it. I already know, man.
That game, it might not be a live service, but based on
people
research, I think that they will monetize. They're gonna figure out a way to monetize that.
They did it with Shadow of War. They ruined that game.
And it's the same studio too. It's the same studio, so they're gonna find a way to do it. Like
WB's gonna make it. It's gonna happen. Yeah, Warner Bros.
They're one of the worst publishers.
I'm shocked they haven't done it to Harry Potter yet. I'm like, bro, like you literally sold the biggest game in the entire year, and there's still no DLC for this thing. Like,
pay for her Lasso of Truth.
Like, I don't know. It's weird.
The strangest thing about this game is that think about the Suicide Squad, right? It's a group of characters that, you know, get together to fight someone. This easily could have been like the Guardians of the Galaxy game that Eidos Montreal did, and when you play the game and look at the story and the way it's presented, it feels exactly like the Guardians
The humor
of the
is good in this game. I agree.
Yeah,
it felt like Guardians to me.
It feels like the story, like I've genuinely laughed. I like the characters and the performances are great. And then you get to the actual game and there's like such a large disconnect between the way that the story is presented and the type of game it actually is. It feels so strange.
This just reminds me, hey, everybody, make sure you guys play Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't forget about that game. I know a lot of people forgot about it. It was fantastic.
It was Avengers killed it, unfortunately. It wasn't a good game.
Avengers ruined
Eidos did a great job on that game.
I think two things. I think this is a case with Suicide Squad of sunken cost fallacy, where it had been in development for so long that I think at the time when they started developing it, the reason that WB probably pushed them to do the live service is live service was big. Remember, Destiny, people did love Destiny 2 at one point. So then by the time they got done with the game, the trend had changed and people were like, why the fuck is this shit a live service by the time they announced it? So that I always say, that's why it's important to let the artists just make what the fuck they want instead of trying to hop on a trend, because trends come and go. But if you make some fire, it's always going to be what it is.
Well, fun fact, right now in the game, I saw like a poll or some industry poll. There's right now, I think somewhere between 90%, I think, of all studios right now have a live service game.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up. We can talk about it now since you brought it up. How y'all feel about that? 95, they surveyed over 500 studios for those of you unaware, and 95% of these studios said they're working on some form of live service game. It's not going anywhere. Comments.
We're done.
Who's gonna play all this?
Here's the thing. No, you just said why this is gonna fail. There are literally not enough gamers to have fan bases for these games to make them profitable. They're literally, there are not enough people, and so that means that some of these games, you know, to be fair, there's a certain percentage of all games that will just fail, right? Like we know that, but in this game, in this particular genre. I think that might be X2, like that there might be an X2 multiplier about the games that will come out and fail as a result of this, and the industry is going to find out really, really quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the publishers even pull the plug, like the way that I think it was I think it might have been Square with Creative Assembly. There was a live service game that they were doing, and they canceled it before it even came out.
I played that shit.
You remember that?
Oh, what is it closed?
It was Sega. It was
Hyenas.
Sega.
Hyenas.
Yeah,
that's what it was. I remember that.
Oh, shit, like ass.
Yeah. I played it with closed when I wasn't allowed to talk about it. I was playing it with a couple of other friends. It wasn't bad. That was the crazy part. I was playing here's the weird part. It was like Lawbreakers. It was so weird. It had zero Gs. It had like the whole Lawbreaker thing where you could like move through it, but it was like PvEVE. So it was like you'd go and rob vaults, but like it was like a mix of like extraction shooters. So it was like Tarkov, more comedic. It had Sonic in it. It had a literal cosplay.
Yeah, I remember they probably surveyed the field though. Yeah. And it was like nobody was interested in it because I remember that beta going on, but nobody was talking about it. It was gonna die.
I was playing. I was like, this is actually a fun game, but I knew in the back of my head, I was like, if this thing comes out today, it will die in a month. There's no way the fan base is gonna embrace this.
You know what's funny about this live service trend today is that so back about 15 years ago, developers were creating multiplayer titles en masse, and they were like full-priced multiplayer titles that only had multiplayer.
Yep.
And they learned really quickly that you can't do that because there aren't enough people and your games will fail. And it's harder to develop a multiplayer game only because that game will literally live or die, and you will make more profit. Exactly. Yep. So we have somehow come full circle to the same shit that was happening in the industry all the way back then, where there are too many of these games coming out now, and it's even worse now because some of these games are free to play. So that means you make substantially less money when your game comes out, as opposed to back then when the games were full price and there was pretty much nothing that was free to play. I don't really know what the industry's doing with this. I think they're chasing trends, but the trends have been dead for like a year or two, and I wouldn't be shocked if some of these games got canceled even before like we would see them, then they'll get canceled. I'm shocked that one game from Square, that Foam Stars game, I'm shocked that hasn't been canceled.
I couldn't believe that
game
actually
Man,
made it to
oh, man.
market. I can't believe that game made it to market. That was
Man, you know what? Like, I'm gonna go even further, and like, you know, you mentioned the whole every studio want to make a multiplayer. Like, I was actually upset, like back then, that a lot of these studios were like making my favorite single player games and didn't want to add a multiplayer aspect. It was like, I understand why, like at the time that you wanted to do it, like, oh, I want to keep more people in the game. That's literally the point, right? Like, you want to keep people playing your game. You want to keep the replay value there. And in single player games, there's literally no replay value unless, again, you add DLC or, you know, some other add-on mode at the end of it. Live service, if that number is that high for how many studios are making a live service game, you're going to be wasting all of these resources, all of this money, right, and more people are going to lose their jobs, and we are going to see a crash in the gaming industry. I don't want this to happen, but if these studios are literally going to do that, we're going to see another crash. Every industry across, you know, everything across known to man is they're losing jobs right now. So if you're going to do this in the gaming industry, it's gonna be worse, bro. So I really hope it doesn't happen.
What we're talking about is a deeper conversation. It's really about capitalism and corporate greed. I think the most fascinating thing about this all is these suits that sit at the top and make these decisions. They're all data driven. They're all about money. But they don't look at the data and be like, look, I mean, how many people on Earth at this point? Like 8 billion people. Only a certain number of them are gamers, and only a certain number of them will like live service games. And then that doesn't even guarantee they're interested in your live service game, okay? So there's no way, like they're always looking for ways to grow. At some point, you're going to plateau. There's no way to, unless just more people are just infinitely born tomorrow, there's no way to sell to an infinite amount of people, and people, I think, are going to get blinded by that greed. And like JG said, unfortunately, I think a crash is coming. And like, I feel like this conversation plays even further more into some of the stuff that they announced at that Xbox podcast, which we're going to talk about later. But I want to end the suicide conversation by saying that after completing the game, I will say the funny thing to come out of all this is that Flash boss fight. Now, IGN infamously released a preview. They released a preview video, and in the video, the IGN writer said that the boss fight was hard. He didn't like fighting Flash because he was fast. Stupid statement. The Flash is the fastest person in the world. But second, I'm not gonna lie. After beating the game, you fucking suck at games, dog. It wasn't hard. I beat it on the first try. It was not hard, dog. You did have to lock in because he was moving all over, but like I did not struggle. It was more annoying than hard. I was just like, it wasn't hard. But shout out Cuphead Gate 2.0, boy.
That's IGN's coverage of this game, regardless of whatever quality the game is, has been a smear campaign.
Unprofessional.
Like just straight up.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah,
and I'm just trying to figure out like why did they like? I don't think we'll ever hear like why they decided to just crap on this game so hard. Like,
and then they just gave Skull and Bones a 7. Fuck out of here, bro! Like,
my ass.
Fuck out of here. I guess Ubisoft gave him the free code. I was looking at that review. I'm like, okay.
They gave Skull and Bones a 7.
Yeah.
The game where you farm trees in your boat. You can't even get out of the boat. Skull and Bones.
I don't know, man.
What? I'm sorry. Wait, what?
Maybe let me double check that. I swear I watched the review yesterday. Yeah, they gave it a 7.
Shot.
No, I just Googled it. I'm gonna pull it up because motherfuckers I'm picking.
Ain't no way.
I'm scrolling down. Look at this shit. Comment
ain't no
section.
way they gave it a 7.
They gave it a 7, bro. Google it right now. Skull and Bones IGN review. They gave it a fucking 7, bro.
No
the
way,
code
bro.
came through.
There's no way they actually give it.
In my opinion, I was playing this yesterday and I uninstalled this shit after an hour and a half. In my opinion, the hate Suicide Squad got should have been redirected to this game. This game is god fucking awful, bro. And since we're on the topic, we can talk about it. I don't know if I'm the only one that played. I'm in utter shock of what I played, dog. What year did Black Flag come out? Like 2014? It's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
They put out a game that's worse. Like Ethos said, in this game, you cannot even get out your boat to gather the resources. You sit in the boat and you just gather them like randomly. But here's what made me uninstall the game, because there's a lot of different reasons, right? This was the breaking point for me. I was gathering resources and because I needed to fix my boat or whatever. In the game, it doesn't explain that it's a shared universe in a sense that all throughout the map there are resources. So I had to collect trees to build my boat. So then I go to the icon on the map where it says to collect the trees, but nothing's there. So I'm thinking it's glitching. I'm like, okay. So then I go to the next one. Nothing's there. Go to the next one. Nothing's there. The game doesn't, someone in the comment section had to explain to me, the game does not explain to you that if somebody else in your shared universe takes the resources, you have to wait for it to respawn. But then here's the kicker. There's no indication of that on the map. There's no time ticker that tells you when the resources come back. I said, fuck this game, bruh. Are you kidding? This is a chore. There's nothing fun about this game. Fucking the world to walk around, there's nothing to do in it. Like, it's just NPCs that give you different tasks to go do, which all revolves around building resources. The core gameplay loop of this game is you create your character, you go talk to somebody, they say you need X, Y, and Z. You go out into the water, you collect it, you fix your boat, it makes your boat stronger, and then you can go fight other boats. But you can't do it. This is not a pirate sim. It's a boat simulator and a loot collector. Yeah. It's fucking boring.
This game's marketing is incredibly misleading. Incredibly misleading. You think it's a game about piracy, but it's really not, is it?
You can't even swim. You walk into the water and there's an invisible wall. They said, nah, you can't do that, bro. And it pisses me off because for those unaware, like, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I hate Black Flag. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, but I was not a big fan of Black Flag. But I will say, if they would have created a multiplayer version of that game where you can ride around on a boat with your homies and hop on other people's boat, duel people, fucking smoke, shoot guns, like, that shit would have been fucking fire. Just the kind of the community aspect of it.
They did make one. They did do that.
Sea of Thieves was boring.
Yeah, it was Sea of Thieves. That's literally what you do in Sea of Thieves. You literally do that. You literally do that in Sea of Thieves.
I'm talking about with the Assassin's Creed combat. Sea of Thieves combat was boring to me. I didn't like it.
But like, Odyssey wasn't bad. Like, when you had to go out there on the ships and do that, like, that wasn't terrible doing that. And I don't know if Black Flag was like that, but like, Odyssey wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I couldn't make it outside of an hour of that game. How much time did you spend with it, DX?
None.
Oh, you said fuck that shit.
The code didn't come through. The code didn't come through.
Oh man, checked it in clear.
Yeah, I'm telling everybody right now, because I think I'm the only one that played this, avoid that game with all costs.
Oh, don't worry, DX. I can give you a code. You want it? You can have it. I'll send it your way.
No, you're good. You're good.
You're good.
If I could give some advice, because you're a game developer, Ethos, do not get in debt with the government, because then you're forced to put out a shitty game that you don't want to put out.
Sure.
No controversy behind that
government. Let me find a government to do that. Sure.
Let's talk about a game that's actually good. I don't want to spend too much time on that quadruple A game. Actually, no. You said you had a quote for me. What was your quote with the quadruple A game? DX, my bad.
Well, so do you guys know where the term AAA comes from?
Nah, break it down.
Actually, no.
So the term AAA originates from the insurance industry, and for bond credit ratings, the highest rating that you could score was AAA. So it meant that you were a very reliable company, and the what's the word I'm looking for here? The reliability of the company was very high. If it got scored a AAA, that meant that you were more than likely to get your money back. And then in the 90s, that they extrapolated that to the games industry. So back in the 90s, EA would have been, and still is, a AAA company, in the sense that if you invested in the production of one of their games, you would get your money back, right? Mm-hmm. As that changed later in the coming years in the 2000s, people really started talking about that more in terms of budget. And I think for the amount of money that they probably put into this game over the course of a decade plus, this probably is a quadruple A game. This almost certainly is, because I think they've lost quite a bit of money with this game.
Yeah, I mean, they had to have lost a bunch of money, because if you read the details on the deal that they did with the Singapore government to fund it, in order for them to subsidize it, a part of that deal was they had to hire Singapore employees in order to make the game. So it wasn't even necessarily the best.
So is that why they built that studio, Ubisoft Singapore?
Yes. It wasn't necessarily the best talent from Ubisoft working on the game. It was the government forcing them to use their people to make their game. And then one of the developers even left a quote saying that it felt like all the talent was leaving the team and it just became more junior and junior. And like that quote kept ringing in my head while I was playing the game, because that's the way I would describe it. It just felt like a very junior game, like somebody who goes to was it Full Sail University? Does that still exist? Like a student like that just was trying to make something. Like you could see where it was trying to go, but it's like the talent just wasn't.
It was
there.
Ambitious, but they just didn't have the talent to reach the ambition of what they wanted to do.
Unfortunately,
when you have a game like that that's made predominantly by a junior team, that really extends to all aspects of the game. It's not just sort of one area like game design. You have to supervise an insane amount of work if the people under you are not to a certain level of experience in the industry. And I wouldn't be shocked if that's what's happened with this game and why it took so long, because if you have a revolving door of people, you need to acclimate those people to your studio's culture. And if you don't have a quality bar because your people keep leaving, then you effectively have to restart, not development, because that's not really it's not that wide a scale, but you basically restart the way that you approach the game almost every single time that happens.
And the game shifts and becomes something a little bit different every time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can almost guarantee that this game was nothing like in the first generation. Like, hey, we're going to expand Black Flag. Like, this is what you all like. We're going to make, a game that's based on that. I guarantee you that, the first generation of this game is definitely not what we got today.
I bet you it's a money laundering scheme.
This guy, I like him.
I bet you that's what it was. I bet, what do you think all that with financials? I bet you someone looked there. I'm just saying, if someone looked there, wouldn't it shock me if
my favorite part about Skull and Bones is when you play the game after you beat the tutorial battle, which by the way lasts entirely too long. It's almost like the ending to Halo Reach, where it's like in the beginning of the game, you're a pirate on a ship with your crew, and you're getting attacked by the British Navy, and you just have to keep going until you die. It's fucking annoying. It lasted like 20 minutes. I'm like, can we get over this, bro?
What happened with Halo Reach? You're a pirate?
No. Like, you remember in the end of Halo Reach when like you have to fight all the aliens until you die? That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Oh, survive.
Yeah, survive.
Oh, okay. I just got.
you're wait. What?
I was like, wait.
Like pirates in there.
Pirates in Halo? Wait, what?
Freaking, but the funny part is, if you get past that part, it then goes to the, how like every game has like their opening little montage presented by da 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 da. In the opening montage for Skull and Bones, it says this is presented by Ubisoft Paris, Ubisoft Singapore, Ubisoft Shanghai. I've never seen that. It named like 20 different Ubisoft studios. I've never seen that in the video game before, and I was laughing. It was funny to me because I'm like, yo, I don't think them niggas want their name on this paper, bro. I thought it was the Singapore team that made this shit, bro. Why y'all putting the Paris, the Montreal, the Shanghai team on this shit?
Well, you know what happened? They needed to get the game done. I bet you they called them in and said, hey, you guys gotta come in and help us. You gotta help us.
That shit was front and center. They said, we finna all take this L. I was like, that's great.
This is a group effort.
I would have been like, nope. I would have been like, Skull and Bones, nope. That's y'all Singapore. No, Paris and Shanghai. Nope, we're not putting our names on this.
Fucking avoid that game like the plague, man. Do not get it on sale. Do not buy it. Do not support it. Ubisoft needs to get it together. If you want to buy a good, because jokes aside, it's fun to rag on Ubisoft. If you want to buy a good Ubisoft game, get the Lost Crown, get the Prince of Persia game. That game's actually good. That game's
Don't let that game get lost in translation. I said that before when we talked about it. Don't let that game get lost.
Yeah, it's a shame to see because reports came out that it's not selling well. I'm like, good old Ubisoft. Maybe Star Wars will get it for him. Let's talk about another AAA game that's came out. Which, by the way, thanks for sharing that story. I did not even know that. I think we're all aware that AAA means like the best quality, but to know it comes from the credit side of things, I was like, okay.
Nothing good comes from the insurance industry.
Tekken 8 that has released since the last podcast. And I saw a tweet. I thought it was pretty funny. Y'all let me know what y'all think. They were saying that when Tekken comes out and black people play it during Black History Month, it's almost like when the waterbenders get the full moon, or when the firebenders get Sosa's Comet, or whatever that shit was called. And you get like a boost and it makes you a better player. Tekken 8 is out now and it's Black History Month. Do you feel like you're a better player as a Puerto Rican, JG?
If I'm a Puerto Rican, to know.
Nah, give us the good, bad, the ugly though. How you feeling about Tekken 8, man?
I mean, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. It's Tekken, right? Like a lot of things don't change in the game. But obviously in Tekken 8, like you have heat actions now. So when you get into your heat actions, you can do different moves. You have a special mode now because it looks like Bandai Namco took from the Street Fighter element. So they made essentially easy mode with easy controls. So that's cool if you for some reason this is your first iteration into Tekken. But people have been playing for freaking years. Like again, a lot of things don't change within like the main formula of Tekken. But there's slightly different way to play it. But again, short and sweet, it's a great game. King is showing everybody once again now that again we're in this social media era where a lot of clips are being shared. King is like overrunning every aspect of Tekken. He's like Zangief in Street Fighter because Zangief was just killing everybody, especially on modern controls on Street Fighter. But King is like doing the same thing. Like these good King players are running through and just tagging everybody, and nobody knows how to break any throws. So people just getting worked easy. But like I said, short and sweet, it's a great game. I just wish that they they need the spectator mode when you get in these lobbies because it's looking real janky right now.
Correct you if you're wrong. You're wrong on that. You can't spectate in the lobbies.
Now you finally can? They add it now?
No, it's in there, and apparently it's been in there since day one because we've been running lobbies, me and Nomad.
So you can't spectate?
Yeah, we've been spectating the whole time. I was doing it yesterday.
I'm freaking Nomad. Hold on.
I hate to do this, but we got to flame up IGN. It was IGN that said that shit. So they said in their review that you cannot spectate lobbies, and that's why I was saying that shit. But you can in the game, and it's been there since day one. They didn't know how to do it.
Tekken tournament back on?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we can.
So we can do community night then.
Yeah, we can do it.
All right, cool. So
I was like, the crazy part is I don't know how much they played the game because there's not like some special setting that you have to do. You literally, if you're in the lobby and you're not playing, you spectate automatically. I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
Oh, so you don't even have to click on it.
I'm not gonna lie, them niggas looking kind of funny in the light, brother.
All right, cool. With this game is down there perfect then. Like it's a super amazing title. I think all the Tekken fans, for the most part, are happy about it. And I can't wait to see like the FGC tournaments that are coming this year, focused around Tekken 8 now that it's out. Like you said, a lot of this stuff, I just remember because I played the whole Tekken, like a lot of the characters I used to play with. A lot of things don't change there. So I think for me, especially been playing Tekken for a while, like it's like just coming back home is like riding a bike. So it's cool. I love it. Great graphics, great gameplay. I don't have any problems. Especially even online. Like I've dealt with a couple of slow matches, but then again, it's the Wi-Fi warrior, so I'm avoiding them like the plague now. I gave one a chance, and I'm like, no more, because it was like exactly. It was like it was like we were stuck in molasses. But it's a good game, man. Like I think if you're a fighting game fan, if you've always played Tekken, Tekken 8 is gonna be right up your alley. If you never played Tekken and want to try something new and you just love fighting games, I would definitely recommend to give Tekken 8 a try. It's a great fighting game, and I think it's amazing that we're starting off the year with some fire in the fighting game industry.
I love that. After Mortal Kombat sucked, but after Street Fighter and then this, it feels like fighting games are having a renaissance. I really enjoy the game. The only thing I would disagree with you, Jay, is like you said that like it's Tekken. It's not a lot new here. I would disagree. I feel like there's enough in this package that it's like it feels like a new game. And first and foremost is the heat system that you talked about. What I like about it is it speeds up the game. Like on average, like games last like 2-3 minutes. I've never been perfect more in my life. I tweeted about that shit, bro. And like it's so fucking fast paced, so it's easy to get in and out of games. But it also changes the dynamic of the combat with the new heat system. It allows you to do the heat smash, gives you armor upon activation, and it also extends combos. And what that does is it speeds up the game, so where it rewards you for being aggressive. So this is the most aggressive Tekken, and I think that completely changes the game. As well as the Ghost AI feature. I don't know if you got to play with that yet. I feel like it's important to give flowers to developers. That's a game changer. Every fighting game needs to have this. So for those of you unaware, this game has a mode in there called Super AI Ghost, where at all times the game is analyzing your fighting style. And what you can do with that is you can choose to play against yourself and learn the mistake that you made. Or you can play against you can download people's ghosts and you can play against like pro players. You can play against your friends when they're not online, and you can adapt and learn to their fighting style. And then also you can go and watch replays, and the game will literally tell you what you did wrong in a fight. It'll tell you what buttons you should have pressed to counter. That's fucking fire. that is very welcoming to new players. I haven't seen anything like that in a fighting game. I think that's innovative, and I think they should be praised for that shit. As well as they got a new story mode with arcade. They got a shonen, like they have 2 story modes in this bitch, bro. Plus you got the online. I think my main critique is the online. I still think, I know Tekken fans are gonna get mad. I know y'all happy to hear me praise the game, but the gold standard is still Street Fighter 6, man. Tekken, like he was saying earlier, them Wi-Fi warriors, you guys need to get the fuck off the game. I'm tired of you guys having $5,000 PCs and $2 internet. It don't make no fucking sense. The workaround is avoid. I would say if I played 10 games, 6, 7 of them were good. But like when it lags, it's fucking bad. It is fucking bad. And it's you Wi-Fi warriors ruining everything. I'm not gonna lie, put them on an island. I feel like the game should test you to see if you're on wired or wireless. And if you're on wireless, it should put you in a pot to only play against people who are on wireless. Because people who play Wi-Fi, y'all all tend to play really fast characters and shit like that. I don't like that shit.
You know why? They got to compensate. That's the only reason why. they literally have to compensate for their terrible internet.
Also, I don't agree with what you said about King either. You know, as a recent King player, I don't think.
You recent. I've been in the trenches, bro.
You sound like you been getting your head bashed in. Is what it sounds like.
No, one king did decimate me, but I already know though. I already know how they get down, so it wasn't nothing new to me. I play King though.
I was gonna say, I feel like I run into more Victors and Reynas. Those are the ones that are fucking annoying.
Oh no, Victor. Yeah, no, I ran into a lot of Victors my first time playing ranked. I ran into a lot of Yoshimitsu too, and I main Yoshimitsu. Like Yoshimitsu is one of my staples. I was like, damn, y'all playing Yoshimitsu now? I must have missed this. So I didn't know it was that many Yoshimitsu players. I saw one King that night, but I saw like freaking 3 or 4 Yoshimitsu. I was like, what the hell am I in? Am I in Earth 2 or something? Because this was ridiculous. But I love the game though. It's a really good fighting game, really good fundamentals. And the thing that you mentioned, I think we'll take it to the next level, especially like if you are like somewhat serious about playing fighting games. Those features are definitely unique and they're definitely fundamental if you're trying to get better as a player.
I'm excited because now it gives me 2 games to watch at EVO. I could never get into Mortal Kombat, and Tekken 7 was so old, like the last 2 EVOs, it just wasn't exciting. But now there's 2 exciting games to watch now.
You know, man, because I mean, like you just said, like black people play Tekken, bro. The Atlanta scene of Tekken is very big, and it took me a while to notice that too. Because again, I wasn't watching Tekken like that, but I started watching Tekken Tag Tournament 2, and that was very exciting. And I was like, you know what? Like I was sleeping on watching Tekken, but don't sleep on it. Like you said, now that you playing it now, I think it'll make more sense to you. Tekken is very lit, it's very deep community, but they're very tight knit.
Yeah, I would say this is probably my favorite Tekken since like Tekken Tag. I've always kind of casually played it, but like I really like this one. I'm excited to see what the pros do, pick up some new tech. I know I like this game because I catch myself screaming and raging while playing it, which creates funny moments, but you know, it is what it is.
Is it better than Street Fighter?
Nah, I still like Street Fighter more. I'm always gonna be a Street Fighter.
I like Tekken more, man. I love Tekken more.
Now, you said you blacker than me?
Yeah, that's definitely what he's saying. That's definitely what he's saying.
Part of my 23andMe, but you know, maybe
the full moon has come out. I definitely say check it out if you guys want a fighting game. It's a full package. I think that's what makes it great. It's a lot of content on the disc. That's all we got in terms of like games. Unless you two want to add something. Do y'all play fighting games? Ethos DX?
Yeah, I whooped your ass in Tekken.
There you go, man. He gonna mention
this nigga, hold on. Yo, you've been telling this lie on the podcast for years.
Lie.
Did you buy Tekken 8? We could do it on stream.
No, I didn't buy Tekken 8. It's not on Switch.
This man is a fucking fraud, bro. I swear to God, man. Whatever, dude. I don't hear this shit. What about
I'll
you?
I'll whoop your ass on my Steam Deck.
Download the game. Me and Nomad been running lobbies. I've been throwing fades, bro.
Have they added Lucky Chloe to the game yet?
I hit Nomad with the
Have they added Lucky Chloe?
Oh, I hit her with the meanest elbow, boy.
Have they added Lucky Chloe? Because that's who I whooped Nomad with.
Nah, she's not in the game. She's not in the game.
I don't want to get
You
it,
would play that scrub ass character.
Yep. Yeah, I did. I whooped Nomad with her.
That's a button masher's dream.
I played her, and I played what was that boy from back in the day? Was it Lee?
Lee's in the game. Lee's in the game.
The one that you just spam the high kick over and over again.
Yeah, he's in Trunks. He's the mad flexible one.
I used to do that shit a lot when I was a kid. I used to piss my brother off doing that shit. So I played Tekken a lot when I was a kid. Tekken 3, Tekken.
Damn, maybe the rumors are true about black people playing Tekken.
Yeah, but I just haven't played it for a very long time.
I can't even explain it. I don't know why black people love Tekken, but we do.
The The only fighting games I've actually played that I'm like decent at is Tekken and Dead or Alive. Those are the only games that I've played
Dead
that
or
I'm like,
Alive
yeah,
ain't
I'm
a real
solid.
fighting game.
Yeah, you're just saying that because I whooped your ass in it.
It's
I don't
not
want
a
to hear
real
it.
fighting game.
Yeah, well, it wasn't real, but it was real enough for you to lose in it. All right.
I've never
anyways,
played
what's
that game before. It's
Yes,
a
we
button
did.
masher
We
game.
played.
No, I'm not saying we didn't play. I'm saying I
definitely
never
played.
played it before playing you. You should beat me, bro. It's a button masher. It's not a real game. It's not at Evo. It's not at Evo. Birth by Night Rebirth is at Evo, not fucking Dead or Alive.
Well, they
That
haven't
game's
made Dead or
irrelevant.
Alive. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it is relevant.
We waiting for
It was fun as hell.
Project L. That shit's gonna be fucking funny with the co-op. That shit's gonna be funny.
True.
But yeah, that's all we got for you, Tekken 8. Let's move into
Play Tekken DX.
Yeah, did you play?
No, I'm new to fighting games. I bought Street Fighter last year, and I've been having fun with that on and off. But I looked at some of the Tekken stuff, and I'm like, I don't have the time for this. I'm just gonna get my ass kicked. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I had King Nightmares, and I was like, I don't think I want to go through this shit again. 'Cause
Your
he
ass
was a
in that
pain in the
chain,
ass when I was
bruh.
younger, bro. Back then, before they were able to patch the game, he was a menace, bro. Oh my god, I hated him. in Tekken.
Still is. Come get
Yep.
dunked. Come get dunked. What's
Yep.
the name? Wait, what made you get into Street Fighter? What made you finally try fighting games?
I've always liked how they looked, and right after I stopped playing first-person shooters. I was like, okay, I need a new genre to like play competitively, and I'm still kind of working on that. But yeah, Street Fighter was like the game that was just kind of there at that point. It was like right place, right time.
Okay. I would say give it a chance, but I get it. Time investment. It is what it is. Speaking of investment, let's talk about Xbox's investment in the future. So to set the stage, some rumors came out a couple weeks ago, articles. People were saying that Xbox was no longer going to be making consoles, and their focus was going to become third party like Sega. They were just going to be putting their games on other platforms. And this led the internet into a frenzy, specifically the Xbox side of the internet. Let me see because I know I sent myself a message. It was so bad. I found a tweet where there was a dude, he posted his receipt. He went to GameStop and he traded in his Xbox because he said he was abandoning Xbox for abandoning their community. And then the rumors had gotten so bad that, I found it. I'm going to post it right there. Let's see. Go to the article. So you guys aren't going to be able to see it, but they'll see it in the video. So this person posted the receipt. This man went to GameStop and traded in his Xbox after the rumors had broke. Keep in mind, none of this is confirmed at this point in time. The rumors had gotten so bad. Phil Spencer got on Twitter and he said, look, we're going to put out a podcast addressing the future of Xbox. And half the internet reacted and said, oh, it must be true. And the other half said, let's wait and see. Well, we waited and we saw. And what we got was that they are, in fact, still going to be making hardware. It was a 20-minute podcast.
Fucking nothing burger.
Yeah.
It was a nothing burger, yeah. So this is an example of why we always say take these rumors with a grain of salt. They did confirm that they are going to be moving 4 games over to other platforms. They didn't confirm what platforms. The Verge reported, I think it was Grounded and Sea of Thieves.
Grounded, Sea of
And
Thieves,
Hi-Fi
Hi-Fi
Rush.
Rush, and Pestilence or Pestilence or some shit like
Which
that.
Grounded and Sea of Thieves makes sense because Phil Spencer kept saying in this podcast that they wanted to push games that were more community driven over to other platforms. If I could summarize what I got out of this, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, what I heard from Phil during this whole podcast is our focus is making money and we want to maximize our dollar.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to put our games on other platforms. They may not be there day one, but they will be there eventually. But hey, Game Pass will remain exclusive to our platform. So to me, that is the benefit of still owning an Xbox because they're not going to be able to get it on PlayStation. They're just saying, hey, our games might eventually come to these other platforms. Relax, Xbox nerds. DX, what's your take on all this drama?
Much ado about nothing. I'm not sure how this would be enforced, but I think that publishers need to start looking into sort of holding, I don't know if it's just outlets or people in general accountable for basically saying rumors is fact, because with the way that these rumors were reported on, you'd think that they were true. And the fallout that was happening on social media because of this was insane. I'm not sure how they would go about that, but it's good that they do. It's good that Microsoft and Xbox do these sort of videos because, truth be told, I feel like no one else really involves the consumer in talking about strategies for the platform. But I'm not sure that they should have to when it's something that my God, it's something it's something this small, and I'm also not sure why people care if the games go to other platforms. Like you said, they're a corporation and they have to make money, and putting some of their exclusives on other platforms will make more money. And it was really sort of a self-explanatory podcast and them basically just justifying why some games are going to be on other platforms. I really don't understand why there was such an uproar about this rumor.
Yeah. Can I say though, like, a part of me kind of wishes it was true, just for the anarchy. Like,
well,
I wanted the chaos to happen. I wanted it to happen.
I was surprised when people were saying, Starfield's a PlayStation, because why would I don't know if we've all played it, but most of the people who've played Starfield, PlayStation doesn't want that shit.
They don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
They don't want it anymore. But
They want it.
If it was good, it was.
Yeah,
during the hype month of it, of marketing it and stuff like that, they want it bad. But now it's just like, it's old news now. They don't care.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like I don't understand people's attachment to plastic. I really don't understand it. I don't understand why people get so upset if one game is going to be enjoyed by another group of people. That's how it should be. Like, ideally, in a world where everything wasn't profit driven, we would get games on every single platform. I'm not sure why some people go so insane about that.
Yeah, I saw the argument that some people didn't like it, and I understood where they were coming from, where if they just put all their games on other platforms, maybe they'll become content and there'll be like less competition, basically. But then I was like, the counter argument to that is they just released Redfall, so like, I don't know. Like,
how about you just release good games?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Well, why even, if in my opinion, it's like, if you have to rely on your platform to try to sell your game, how about you just release a good game? I don't understand why you care about where it's being launched on, or like why it's launching on multiple different things. How about the game just being good? That's all you have to do.
Microsoft's problem, though. Microsoft's problem. It wasn't a problem of releasing good games; it was releasing games. Period. Like, they couldn't release enough exclusives on their actual platform, and that's the reason why, again, you gobbled up Activision Blizzard. It's a reason why you gobbled
They're
up.
the biggest publisher on their platform now.
Yeah.
That's what they said. We are the biggest publisher on PlayStation. We are the biggest publisher on Nintendo now. You got to look at a bigger picture at this point. I am so tired, and I agree with you, DX. I think that a lot of those publishing, a lot of the media publishing, need to be held accountable for the BS that they pull.
It's just
one
lies.
segment of this. It's just straight up lies. Part of this segment is like a little of this. I feel like is part of this, like that Suicide Squad type of shit. That shit I saw, I was like, that shit was just foul. And then on the other side of it too, on this, when there's other stuff, and we got literally writers and editors from IGN tweeting, talking about Xbox looking, what do you say, TBH? Xbox looking weak. What are you talking about? Act like this is like literally fueling this shit. Like, Xbox looks really weak, the way that they always are behind the 8 ball when it comes to stuff like this. I'm like, I'm sorry. Do you have foresight? Are you aware of potential leaks that can happen?
Games, or
are you here to report on actual things as they appear? Or are you here to just give foresight into the future of Xbox needs to be aware of every single second that a leak can happen and that they need to be ahead of the ball? Do I think that Xbox needs to figure out why the hell they keep getting constant leaks? Yes, I think something internally is happening where some not happy person or somebody is getting access to information they shouldn't be and leaking it out or talking to media that they shouldn't be talking to. And those people need to be, re-educated about why legally that's not a good idea. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I'm so tired of this. And this is even going even further into when this news was getting rumored before Xbox even came out. I saw a funny joke where they're like, I guess Sony wanted to shoot itself in the leg and they say, oh no, Microsoft is not going to do this. We're going to beat them to the punch. Because then Sony's president comes out literally a couple days before Xbox does this podcast to say, hey guys, the thing that Microsoft is saying in these rumors, we're going to be doing it. We're starting to do it. We're changing our whole strategy now. We don't think the whole one game on this PS5 is the future anymore. And now the PlayStation Sony fans are losing their fucking minds about that. So Yeah, it's insane, man.
You know what's funny about that is that actually even when Sony does that, I do think that Xbox has the upper hand, because they talked about something in that podcast, and it was about entitlements across platforms. So if you buy one game on an Xbox console, right, you get it for like all the platforms. Sony doesn't do that shit.
They don't want you to do
Sony's PC releases are the most overpriced pieces of shit I've ever seen. Like, they almost all come out broken or have some sort of problem, and they still charge a premium price for it. It's insane.
Final Fantasy 15 almost blew up my PC. I remember that shit.
Helldivers is crashing right now, and that's published by PlayStation.
Well, I mean, that the Horizon port and the Last of Us
I remember
were terrible.
Yeah, both of those were crap. Yeah.
Last of Us literally was like Cyberpunk levels of like broken. Like I remember I saw the memes and shit. It was literally like a 1-to-1 to Cyberpunk. Same type of shit. Yeah, it's wild. And I remember the Horizon thing where like it was cooking PCs. It could barely hit 60 FPS on like high-end rigs. Yeah, I remember all that. And like, Spider-Man, I think, has issues too. I think the Spider-Man ports also have issues. I think one of my friends said he bought Miles Morales, and he says to this day, he said Miles Morales is broken on PC. Like, there's still some sort of issue with it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he was telling me about it. But he says Sony has not fixed it yet. They've not patched this problem yet. So usually like the fan base does fan modding, or they fix it themselves.
Yeah, think about it. Whenever they put out a port on PC, I feel like nobody talks about it.
Because they take too long. They wait 2 years.
That 2
one gives a shit about it.
Not going to work anymore. It's not going to be sustainable. I mean, but the funny thing is, though, you have a dedicated, and I've spoken to you about this on Twitter, DX. Like, I remember when I brought The Last of Us thing, and I'm like, well, why the hell are y'all buying this again and again and again? And you were like one of the only ones that were like, hey, I've never played any of The Last of Us before, because I never owned the PlayStation 3 or 4. And I was like, okay, like, you're an outlier. Like, I don't think there are too many of you who are like still excited about Last of Us to this day, and at least like just want to play it. Like, I wouldn't say like, you know, you're super excited about it, but you were interested in it. It's like, hey, you know, I never got a chance to play it, so I want to actually try it out now that it's coming out on the PC. But yeah, I mean, it's literally the thing. Like, if you're going to bring these games out, 2 years, and that's 2 years too long. But on the other end of the spectrum, Sony is finally seeing that, like, hey, like, those people will wait. There are people who don't own those consoles, and they will literally wait, and they're like, okay, now I get a chance to play these games, and they ran it up, because they did it with God of War, they did it with Spider-Man, broken or not, they did it with Horizon, they almost did it with War. So they're still so Sony is finally seeing this, and I'm like, yo, y'all need to stop with that 2 year stuff. Y'all need to bring these games out day one or close to day one. Y'all need to lower the threshold on this console exclusivity. I would say minimum will be 6 months, and then bring the game out on PC, and people are going to buy it. But yeah, it's just because it's way too long. People don't care about it anymore. They don't care about talking about it.
I know for a fact, which is embarrassing. I think for them, it is. I'm gonna tell you, this is a little conspiracy me, but I think the day they woke up and they saw that Spider-Man, literally one of the most famous superheroes in the world, most iconic superheroes in the world, and I remember they marketed the shit out of Spider-Man 2. It did not sell as much as Baldur's Gate 3, not even close. I think that was like a wake-up call for them, where they were just like, wow, we're missing out on a huge market here. And Spider-Man, like I think it hit like 1 million. I think it was like 1 million or something like that. And like Baldur's Gate like dwarfed it. I think they're realizing too, I think from a number of like how many sales we're making or how many things we're selling to our shareholders, it seems more enticing and it sounds better when it's like we sold over 20 million copies or on PS5 and PC and stuff like that, than in saying now these numbers don't sound that crazy to stockholders, to shareholders now.
I'm gonna let you finish just so you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw like an article like the other day. Currently, Spider-Man 2 sold like 5 million copies, because somebody in the comments is gonna be like, it sold 5, but I'm gonna be honest.
After the point, I'm talking about the first month. It didn't have 5.
I'm also gonna add on too that the PS5 to this date has sold 50 million units. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of you PS5.
That's what I'm saying. That's not good.
Frauds. You didn't actually buy Spider-Man.
This is literally like one of their like hyped up, most popular, like that and Ragnarok.
It's a flagship release.
It's your flagship that will literally push your console. Like, you sold it with your console. So just like Horizon. How does Horizon end up having a lot of those like afterlife sales? Why? For some reason, Horizon ends up getting a lot of sales is because they keep bundling it with PS5s.
Console. Yep.
And they count it for those sales. It's not actual people who are going out
and
wanting to.
Industry does. They're doing
that. I was about to say that. I was like, they have the bundles.
It's false. It's false. Like, you're scuffing your numbers. You're trying to make it sound like, you're trying to act like, oh wow, look at all these people interested in it. But they know, no, it's just people who are buying these PS5s. But they know, and again, This goes everything goes 360. It goes all the way back into the whole thing when Microsoft was acquiring Activision, why they were losing their shit privately, and publicly they were being like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Privately, they were like, oh, we don't really care. But they cared because they knew that at the end of the day, that 50 million PlayStations, right? That's what you said, PS5s. Crazy also, I just remembered. I think there was an article that came out that they said that it underperformed. The PS5 has underperformed the sales of what they actually wanted the PS5 to sell. Like they were expecting to sell way more than that, and they said it did not reach.
I'm gonna give them a pass on that. I think some of that had to do with the scalpers shit and COVID. They fucked shit up.
That's true. But what I'm trying to say is that they know that their install base, the 50 million of it, they're playing FIFA, they're playing Call of Duty, they're playing they're playing the core dumb casual stupid stuff.
I just Googled it because I was curious. I was like, Spider-Man didn't sell well. Ragnarok did sell 15 million units.
It did. Yeah, Ragnarok did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
maybe
Ragnarok
people ain't excited about Spider-Man as we thought they were.
That might be the case. But even still, I'm saying is that compared to what? Call of Duty sold how much on PlayStation compared to that? I'd be shocked. I'd be really shocked if it's close. It has to be 20, 25, 30 million.
That's Call of Duty, though. Is it fair to even compare that?
Well, what I'm saying is that they know that the actual install base of them are playing Call of Duty. They're playing FIFA. They're not. Don't get me wrong.
It's a multi-plat machine.
Yeah, for exclusives, that's pretty good. But if you compare that to Zelda sells, that is nothing. Zelda is insane. Like, and Zelda, Nintendo, I don't know. Nintendo just has the sauce. I can't explain that shit. Zelda's just power, and Mario's power is insane. Where they just drop a Zelda on one platform, they don't need to care about.
Tears of the Kingdom has already sold 20 million copies.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And think about the span of time. They just destroyed.
That just came out.
And it's just an exclusive. It's only on a stupid old console, a handheld.
And nobody gets on Nintendo.
Wait, are you?
I was Zelda.
Yeah, and nobody tells them to do that.
I feel like this entire argument is: are you trying to say the PlayStation Nation, the Sony ponies, are fraudulent? Are you trying to say that?
I've been saying that. I've been saying that shit for years. I've been saying they don't play the shit that they buy and preach about. That they spend more time yelling and bitching on Twitter and Twitter Spaces and shit than actually playing the games that they be talking about and trying to hype up and defend themselves about.
Yeah, I will say that the Xbox community, I feel, is more tight knit. Like both of these communities are pretty crazy, but I will say that the Xbox community is more tight knit, and I think again that falls into what DX was mentioning. How many faces can we name on Sony that like actively like respond to fans that go in Twitter Spaces? Like,
they had that one, but he retired, right?
Who?
To be fair, too, though, hold on. To be fair with the Sony side of things, I think that's more of a cultural thing because it is a Japanese company.
Reggie,
there's an American, there's a U.S. division. Like, why can't you get somebody from the U.S.
Reggie was extremely.
I would say they should soup up that U.S. division.
Reggie was all over.
Reggie for Nintendo. That was like he was the face.
I would say Sony needs that. They
Sony
had that with somebody. Yeah, that was. Yeah, they had that with one person, but then he left. I think.
I don't feel like he was that down to earth though. Like that's still a name that not too many people know. Everybody knows who Phil Spencer is. Everybody knows who Reggie Fils-Aimé is.
Everybody knows Sarah Bond.
No, he doesn't.
Yes,
everybody knows Sarah Bond is. So like they're putting themselves out there, and that's what I'm saying that Sony does not do. Like Sony does not talk to the people. And Sony is very like, and we've dealt with it before because we went to E3, we've been to these events. You know how hard it was to get into anything Sony? Like Sony doesn't talk to people.
They're very uppity.
But Xbox is like, hey, we have fan fest events. Like, you can still get in and watch your conference.
Yeah.
Like, they do this stuff all the time. And this is what I'm saying. Like, Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, they go in these Twitter spaces. They talk to the fan. This is what I'm talking about. They are down to earth, and they care about the community. And this is exactly the reason why Phil Spencer was like, hey, I see y'all talking about these rumors.
Now stop it.
So first of all, let me put up this tweet. Yeah, let me put out this tweet. I got y'all next week. We're going to talk about this on the podcast because and I was talking about this on my video too. It's a lot of PR talk, right? Like a lot of talk that the fans, wouldn't particularly care about, and a lot of stuff that we already knew. That's why we said that this podcast was a nothing burger, right? Because it was a lot of stuff we already knew, but you had to dispel those rumors because the community was going insane. And again, like the example that you brought up, people are, I'm going to sell my Xbox. I don't want to be a part of the community anymore. I'm getting rid of Game Pass. If you're just going to give all your exclusives to PlayStation and Nintendo, then why even own you? And Phil Spencer was like, hold up. only these 4 games for now. You know, we may bring more, but you know, I need for y'all to calm down. Like, I still want you all to be in the Game Pass system, and it's literally the reason why they're doing it. Phil Spencer said, we're bringing these games to other consoles because we want you to come back to us, or come to us, period. Like, you know, we want you to be in the ecosystem. Again, at the end of the day, this podcast was literally telling people we're in the business of making money, and that's what I said at the beginning before I even heard this. I said we're in the business of making money, so we're going to make this money. We want you to come to Game Pass. We want you to get in our ecosystem. We're all about software now, even though we're still making hardware, but software and live services, that's our bread and butter right now. This is how we're making money.
What they should have done in that whole dang thing was, I was mad about. I will say I was disappointed. They hyped about Diablo. That was cool. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, okay, I'm gonna finally play Diablo 4 now. But I was like, where's Call of Duty, bro? Come on now. Where's the announcement?
Later. It's coming later. They can't do it right now.
That, yeah.
I just need. I need them to Yoshi.
He wants me to throw it.
But yeah, like that's one thing. Is like, come on, like let's, because that's a big marketing thing, right? Like, let's get that big trailer going where it's like every Call of Duty right here, day one on the Game Pass. It's showing up now, especially after that crap MW3.
It's on the way though. You know that. I would assume that
hurry
with the
up.
one
That game's so bad, I forgot it came out.
Yeah, that shit was terrible.
That's fucking funny, bro. Oh my god. So yeah, nothing's gonna happen. All the Xbox fanboys that was ready to fight the war or quit the war, the enlistment numbers were dropping for Xbox in the war. You don't have anything to worry about. Things are gonna stay the same. They're just, you know, switching up the formula a little bit.
I don't get why people were worried in the first place, because you guys were talking about Sony and how they've realized some platforms sell differently. Xbox has spent pretty much the last 7 or 8 years building a huge bridge to PC. It's Sony that is coming out with crap ports and has no real presence on the platform. So when they say that they're going to commit more to PC, the uphill challenge that they have to compete with Xbox on that platform is insane. They have no store. Their ports are shit. Their ports are overpriced, in my opinion. They come out like 2 years after the actual game.
No social system. No way to connect to the people on PlayStation.
Exactly. The problem is not with Xbox. Like, no one should be worried about Xbox's standing or where the exclusives are going to go. The uphill battle lies entirely on Sony.
You know what's crazy that you bring that up is that's literally what Microsoft's position was when they started doing this. Remember how when Quantum Break and stuff came out and they were broken and they were trying to fix them and do that UW crap, and that didn't work out. Like, they were in that situation to start, and it took them years to get their shit together.
They finally got it together. You're right.
Yeah. They finally invested in the goddamn platform. That's what they did. They put money towards building a bridge, you know, with Xbox Game Pass and its compatibility with the actual console, and they got a pretty good return, I'd say, because Xbox Game Pass is now pretty much ubiquitous with Xbox's games. If you're a PC gamer, it's like, oh, I'll get it on Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of funny to me because I cannot imagine a podcast like the Xbox one like 15 years ago. Can you even imagine that the console guys would be saying, oh, we're going to put our games this, or wherever? Because the model has changed so substantially in the past like 10 years that now people have discovered it's like, yeah, PC, Sony, PC, PlayStation, the Switch, all of these have their own communities that will never move off of those platforms. So yeah, we have to port our games to make more money. That's just it.
10 years ago, we had like people like Cliff Bleszinski from Gears saying he would never port Gears to PC because it was a bunch of hackers and thieves who would steal the game. That was the attitude that people had.
Did you see he's trying to get rehired by the coalition?
Honestly, they need to hire him.
I agree.
They honestly need to hire him. I don't know why they're not. Like,
I agree. It's the way he positioned it. He was like, "They need me." Yeah. I'm like, I can argue.
No, he's right.
But I could argue.
He's right.
But I could argue you need them too. Like, it's a symbiote.
No.
Yeah, he needs them too.
He needs a job.
This is partly why I don't think he does. This is just my take. I know that he invested a lot of money in Oculus, so he basically became a millionaire because he has a lot. He invested early. And,
you're right.
The Oculus is good right now, right? Like, that went into Facebook.
Not to the Appivision Pro fans.
That's not what the Quest is, and the Quest is doing good. So he's pretty much good. He's writing a book. That's what he said. But I've said this before. I was like, if I was Phil Spencer, the moment I saw that he had interest, day one, next day, I'm calling his ass, because the worst thing I want to happen is is them motherfuckers at Sony call him and say, "Yo, we want you to make a third-person shooter because we don't have that right now. We need a multiplayer shooter. We're gonna hire you and make it." And then they use that against you later in the future.
They did that with the Call of Duty devs. They did that with Jason Blundell, who left Treyarch. Yeah, they did that exactly.
And it's go do their new thing. Yeah, and I'm telling you, because right now Sony said like they know, in fact, we are behind when it comes to the multiplayer space of things. Like
that's why they overpaid for Bungie.
Yep, and that's why they overbought Bungie to then go in and help them make live service games. That's why Helldivers now came out as like a first example. But some of their previous, like Foam Stars, Helldivers, like they're trying to push that. Like we're trying to get PS5 and PC to work together in the multiplayer suite. But then, if I'm Phil Spencer, I'm calling Cliff Bleszinski because at the end of the day, I know hardcore Gears fans. You ask any Gears fan, that's the name they know. That's the name they trust. They know.
I would pay attention at least. Oh, he's got a new joint coming. Okay.
Him and Ferguson. Those were the two big names. I think Ferguson was first. But those were the two big dogs that were like, okay, if you see their names, they are ubiquitous with the original Gears trilogy. Obviously, there was a lot more masterminds at Epic that were responsible for why Gears, and that one we don't talk about. But they are like the big brain children behind it. And I think if you're gonna say Gears, because we know they're going to announce Gears, we're on Gears 6 this year. Like it seems like that's what they're hinting at. They're going to reveal the next Gears. I think there's nothing more powerful from a marketing standpoint than you have Cliff Bleszinski come out there and announce their show and say that like he's like one of the lead executive producers for it.
With the chainsaw gun.
With the chainsaw gun.
Like the old days.
We're back, baby. Like kind of how Halo Infinite felt where everybody was like, Halo's back. Like you kind of got to do that with Gears. Gears needs that revitalization moment where it's like, I'm not gonna lie, I miss the days of Gears 2 and 3 and 1 with, we was all multiplayer playing that shit when I was younger. I miss that. It's not nearly there anymore. So wish they bring that back.
Also some new IPs too. Don't forget that.
No, last one they did was Redfall. We're not gonna talk about new
Scalebound?
IPs right now.
Anybody? Scalebound?
They should bring Scalebound back.
God.
Bring Scalebound back. Bring it back.
I looked at some footage of that game recently. I feel like we all have a fond memory in our head of it. It didn't look that good to me when I looked at the footage.
No,
again.
I still want to play.
Not from a visual standpoint. I wasn't judging that because I know it's old.
I still want to play Train Your Dragon. I still would have played, even if it would have been ass. I don't know. I think Platinum said that they were also at fault for why it ended up not happening too. They felt like it was kind of like a 50-50 type thing where they're like, yeah, we kind of fucked up on it too. But that Xbox hardware was ass too.
Yeah, that frame rate was stuttering in the gameplay.
Yeah, that Xbox One hardware was ass.
That's a terrible trailer.
Yeah. Let's move it over to some PlayStation conversation because we were talking about that a little bit since the last podcast. There was a Sony State of the Play where we got some, we got some Helldivers 2 gameplay. I mean, the game's already out. Some Foam Stars, Dragon's Dogma. We got the reveal of Death Stranding 2. Some Dave the Diver. I think, in my opinion, what stole the show was Rise of Ronin. That shit looked fire. And then Sonic Shadows Generations. You guys, Stellar Blade, any of that little Sonic? Anything stick out to y'all?
No, Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade is like, them cheeks was going crazy.
For those unaware.
They said these been those cheeks.
Yeah, the developers have confirmed there will be jiggle physics, guys.
Oh, gaming is back.
We're back.
Baby.
We're back.
We're back.
Fuck all that PC shit. I'm making something I want to make. What's the name? But jokes aside, the game does look good. I feel like a lot of hoopla has been around what the chick looks like, but the game does look like a fun Devil May Cry type of game. I'm excited to play that game.
Near walk, so this game could run.
Yeah, I'm getting those kind of vibes. Rise of Ronin looks fucking fire. The story, the traversal, the combat, that's a day one cop. I'm curious to hear what y'all take. Like, DX, what do you think about Death Stranding 2?
I have spent very limited time with the first game, and from what they showed of it, it looks like a very Kojima game. I'm happy that he's found somebody who will let him embrace his weirdness and do whatever he wants with these games. Yeah, it's just like, it's just give Kojima, let him do whatever he wants. It's like, just let him do it, because I mean, I think Kojima has kind of reached this kind of like it's kind of similar to what Christopher Nolan is in the film industry, where people will just watch whatever comes out that he does.
Yeah,
and I think the only way that you can really leverage that sort of person is to let them do whatever they want.
Embrace the creativity.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? Was there anything that stood out?
No, I mean, like I said, it was Ryder Ronin and Solar Blade for me. When I saw Death Stranding 2, like I caught like the tail end when the conference was playing, and so I was like, oh man, like we all knew it was coming because like that little whatever the heck it was that they revealed at first with like the first Death Stranding, whatever DLC expansion, whatever you want to call it. We knew that Death Stranding 2 was coming. So you know, I think the only person, because I don't even know if you play a TBH? You played the first one? I know Ethos and I played it, but and Ethos played.
I'm replaying it right now, man. I'm playing the director's cut right now.
How you feel about it?
Get back with me in 2 weeks once I beat it. I'm still. It's so weird. I think I got past the part where I rage quit back in 2019 when he made me go up the fucking hill twice, and I was like, I'm not doing this shit again. I've got past that part. I made it all the way to California. But once you make it to California, fun thing, the game then tells you to go all the way back to DC. So now I'm going back the same way I went, and they purposely made sure I lost all my gear that I did to get all the way there. So I have to re-get everything to go back all the way back to the East Coast. So I'm right now in the middle of that whole retracking shit, and I know I was playing. I was like, "Oh, TBH would hate this. He would uninstall right here. This would be."
I hate what you just said.
Yeah. I was like, "This would be the moment that would break him." I was like, "Yeah," because I was irritated the whole time. I kind of agree with what you said, DX2. I think I will give a respect that I do think that the game is pretty creative in respects, but I do think as I play Death Stranding, there's definitely a meta narrative to it where of like the players like patience of like the game plays a role within the, like why certain people, but I think the game is wired in such a way that I don't think it's a game for everybody, and that's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
That's nothing wrong with that, because like we talked about multiple games where like this is, what was that game, TBH, you reviewed Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is literally, I'm not even joking, if you told me Alan Wake 2 was a Kojima game, I would believe you. I feel like these are two games that are like, they're very weird and they're creative in their own respects. But if you look at the fundamentals of what the games are, it's like, if you look at Alan Wake, well, really, it's just it's True Detective, but it's really just a basic third-person shooting game with very basic mechanics. There's not really depth there. The creative aspect is the storytelling, and it's the narrative and the music. And in this game, it's like, you know, when you really look at Death Stranding, I don't really see anything too, like, I know some people try to act like, oh, it's so unique, it's a Strand game. It's like, I don't see anything here where it's like, I don't see the need of trying to act like it's something drastically unique, because I don't really feel like the more I play it, it really is. And I feel like some of it like overindulges itself. But what I do find is like, I do find some of those aspects of the idea of doing it at your own time, patience, and just kind of just absorbing it and just taking your own time and not trying to rush the game is when I feel like then I see the vision of what he was trying to say. Also, I have a newfound respect for that game and Kojima. I'm not gonna lie, if you asked me this question 3 years ago, I would have said quack type shit, like, you know, just being pretentious. But after the pandemic, I feel like I see Death Stranding in a whole new light, because it is kind of insane how close Death Stranding is to actually like what happened during the pandemic, and how the Death Stranding is very similar to like how society reacted to the COVID. It's actually kind of insane. Like, there's actually a lot of similarities of how we disconnected from each other. We hid away in our own houses and we didn't go outside and stuff like that. And then the way we stayed connected was the internet, and that's kind of what he's doing throughout the game, is he's connecting people to the quote unquote internet service. So I will give him that. I think he does have a future site that I think was very interesting. As for the PlayStation State of Play, I'm not gonna lie, all this shit was cool, but the one thing that really had me a little kind of excited was Judas. That's that BioShock game, man. That's the game that Kevin Levine shut down. Yeah. I don't understand this. DX, maybe explain this to me. Why did Kevin Levine shut down Irrational Games and say it was too hard to build BioShock to make another BioShock game?
So
like, what happened there?
Fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah. Was it just he got more money now?
So the way that BioShock Infinite's development went down was basically that the company ballooned in size, and his previous games had been made primarily, I think BioShock had about 60 people on it, and that wasn't like 60 full-time employees. That was like including contractors and people who would work doing outsourcing. So he got really used to making games with small teams, and by the time that Infinite was out, the studio had around like 200 full-time employees.
Wow.
So he's basically like, fuck this, I can't do this with like and there were said to have been like, you know, he admitted when I interviewed him that his strength wasn't management. So
Slight flex.
Well, you know, I'm a star now. I'm a star now. I'm a star now.
Oh, you're famous.
So basically what he did was he took about 20 people, I think, that had worked on Infinite. He took them and started this new studio, and for the past, I think, 7 years, he's been working on this idea of a big game made by a small team.
Small group of people.
Yeah, and I gotta say, from what they've shown,
It looks good.
Incredible. Yeah,
it looks very
good.
Bioshocky. I like the premise of it, like with the idea of like vanity and it seems like celebrity. It seems like it's selling like some little hints at that. It looks definitely like Bioshock. Like it has that, like you look at 5 minutes of gameplay, you're like, oh yeah, this feels like Bioshock DNA through and through. I think that's cool too, because I know there's been a lot of departures lately in like the gaming industry where like creators or the CEOs or the founders of certain studios, they leave their studios because they've ballooned so big and now they're like owned by a bigger publisher, and they're like,
they have no
this isn't what I wanted to do. This isn't my vision or what I wanted to do when I started this. And now they go back and now they're now they're starting small, and now they're trying to make these like very high quality, smaller experiences. I mean that's cool.
Side note, I read this morning that Alan Wake 2 is Remedy's fastest selling game. It sold 2 million.
It
sold 2 million.
I read the
We
same
love
article,
that.
Yeah, which I was surprised, but I was like, I like to hear that, man.
Yeah, that's good. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'd have been devastated if Alan Wake 2 like didn't sell well. I really would have been like,
I read that it's their fastest selling, but it still hasn't reached profitability.
oh yeah, I doubt it would either.
Which is crazy.
I mean,
because
that music section probably costs a lot of money.
That licensing alone, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Alan Wake 2 ever becomes profitable. I would really be shocked, because it is a very weird game for a very small group. But I feel like, I pray that I can't believe this. Thank you, Fortnite. Thank you for allowing Alan Wake 2 to exist. Because if it wasn't for Fortnite, it never would have came out. I couldn't believe it. Microsoft wasn't going to fund it because they thought the same thing. They were like, we don't really see it. And then fucking Epic Games said, hey, we'll let you do the game you always wanted. We'll help pay for it. So that's shocking to see. So shout out to Fortnite. Maybe you aren't that bad. If you could allow them to make more games.
Kill
and now they're working on like
this
3 games.
Nah, I hate that game. They killed Unreal Tournament 2. Fuck 'em.
Some must die for something to live.
Keeping it on Sony. There's rumors, I repeat, rumors floating around that Sony is working on a new handheld device. PSP 2, PS Vita 2, I don't know. And
isn't that also Xbox? Aren't they both like? Isn't that also a rumor with Xbox?
There's a rumor going around that So the rumor is that for the next Xbox, Microsoft put in charge the Microsoft Surface team, which they're in charge of. The tablet,
the portable.
Yeah,
shit.
the tablet. The rumor. So then it doesn't mean it, but the rumor became, well, because the Surface team is working on the next Xbox, maybe that means we'll get a handheld.
That was different than what the team that made the X and S were. Like that's a
that was a different team. It's more of an assumption than anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which would be interesting. I wouldn't be mad if everybody's making their own little Switch
handheld shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that. But this rumor with the Sony thing is apparently it's using a GPU that would be compatible with PS4 and some PS5 games. So the question, what I wanted to bring out, let's act like this is true. Do y'all care? Is there a market for a Sony handheld?
Steam Deck #1.
All right, bro. JG, what do you think?
I still love the Steam Deck as well. I still love the Steam Deck as well. But I mean, if they decided to go all in, because I mean, that's what some people who don't do the research thought what the PlayStation Portable was supposed to be, right? Like they thought that was going to be like an actual handheld, and it turns out that it wasn't.
Who thought that would be a handheld? They was pretty upfront about that.
That's
shit.
Why I said some people who didn't do their research, they were trying to, go to places like, why doesn't this work if I don't have Wi-Fi? Like
I didn't like that they called it the PSP though. I didn't like that they called it
that was disrespectful to the legacy of the PSP.
It was just misleading. I think for the people who didn't do research.
There would be a market for it. I wouldn't necessarily, jump at the gun to play it because, it's got the Steam Deck, so I can play those games allegedly, on the PS5. So again, if you have a Steam Deck or another sort of device and you can, do some things, switch some things around and install some files that allow you to play those games or even remote play it better than a portable, then there's no need to get it from me. But, if you are one of those people that, are stuck on the Sony ecosystem and want something that can be a true competitor to, say like a Steam Deck, then, it would be nice to see them, go all in and do this. Because I don't think that the VR is working for them. Like, they're still doing it, but I don't think that the VR is the market that we're still leaning into yet. But I do think that the handheld market, especially since the Steam Deck has gotten so much success and we've seen all these other companies create their own handhelds, I think that if you have something that is as powerful, as a low or mid-range computer, that it would bring some people into it, and I think some people would buy it. It just wouldn't be me. I don't think the target demographic is me, but I think it would be welcomed by some people.
Yeah, as long as the exclusives are there, like proper games to play, and they put a second analog stick and not that damn touchpad like on the Vita, and most importantly, they support it, because Sony has a bad habit of releasing stuff and then just letting it float around. You brought it up. You brought it up just like a second ago, but like I'm pretty sure a lot of our viewers forgot. Y'all know the PSVR 2 came out last year. That shit DOA. And to add on to what you were talking about, you were saying it's not working for them. I wouldn't say PSVR isn't working for them. I'd argue they're not innovating. They're not doing anything that you can't get on the Quest, you can't get on the Vive. Every time I see a PSVR 2 trailer, it's for some fucking generic first-person shooter. Listen, dear game developers, we've had enough first-person shooters on VR. Do something. If Sony would innovate, that VR would take off. That's the issue. They don't properly support that thing.
Or they find a way of like incorporating the existing titles that already are coming out as a way that you can play them within like the space of, like, that's the way I think that the
Resident Evil Village in first person, like that shit.
Yeah, like if they find a way that you could play all existing titles, but you feel like you're in the actual like space of the PlayStation while you're playing those games, I think like that could be a way that they could get more interest on it and innovate it. Kind of like how, how like people lost their minds about the Apple thing, and the Quest can do it too, but the whole like putting things in shared reality and you have your screens and stuff like that. I just don't think the hardware is there.
I'd argue they kind of missed that boat on the VR. They should have pushed it when they had it. And the reason I say it is because Apple's jumped into the race. And let me tell y'all something. Do not underestimate these Apple drones. For the most part, it's been fairly positive reviews for that Apple Vision Pro. So people are going to be like, even though it's expensive, why would I get this when I can just save my money?
That's what kind of upsets me, is that like
Cammy was watching my stream with the Apple Vision Pro. Y'all know that, right?
I can't believe she spent $3,500 on that.
Yeah,
to watch a Twitch stream. Like,
right. That's the thing that kind of shocked me, was like, I remember when I was seeing all the shit with like people going outside with the thing, I was like, oh my God, please don't let Apple be the reasoning why
Sword
people are
Art
going to
Online
actually
is about
like
to
make
happen.
this shit mainstream. Please, God, don't
Ready
do
Player
it.
One,
I was like, please don't let Apple, because I like, of all things, like I watched the whole Mike Zuckerberg argument about it, and I'm not gonna lie, he wasn't lying about anything he was saying in the video. Like, I agree with a lot of his points that he was making, especially like about the price point thing.
Yeah, but he's a government lizard.
Yeah, he's government lizard. But the one thing I will say is that I think he's the key thing that he said at the end of the video, which I was like, I'm 100% like, I'm in agreement with him, is that I pray to God that this whole virtual shared space, VR space, the market ends up, I hope the open platform market ends up dominating it, like how Microsoft Windows dominates instead of Apple's.
Well, what's the platform? Because I wouldn't argue Facebook.
So it's either well, it is, because you either have, which is what Facebook is, you either have a open platform, an open garden where people can come in and develop, and they can modify and they can change it, kind of like how Androids work, kind of like how PCs and Windows function, or you end up with a closed garden ecosystem where you have more high quality stuff, but you do have that where everything goes under the guise of Apple, everything's under the purview of Apple, and you have no way of modifying and stuff like that. I think when it comes to shared reality in the future of stuff, and the innovation aspect, I think we need an open garden. I'm praying that because, and what you're saying about the Apple drone thing, I'm praying that it doesn't just because it's Apple that's doing it, and because it's Apple's icon and their Apple thing, that now people want to act like VR is cool, and now I want to wear the thing. And no, VR's always been a cool thing, even though it's been like, which I agree with. I've tried out the Quest 3. That shit is amazing. Like a lot of the shit that he said that the Quest does, he's not wrong about it. I'm like, yeah, like that shit was amazing. I played a game with it. I was like, the only reason I haven't bought into it yet is because I have vertigo, so I have to, you know, for me it's kind of a more complex thing talking to your doctor and stuff. But like that is amazing for $600. Like the main thing that you said too, T-Bitch, is that like you have to have a good entry price point, and Apple will never do that. They'll never create good, solid entry price points for people to get into their ecosystem. They're always going to overcharge you. They're going to Apple tax you. Like what you said. Don't get me wrong. I haven't tried the Vision Pro. I'm pretty sure it's an awesome piece of hardware. But is it $3,500 good?
Well, here's the
No.
point. Here's the point you're missing. You are a responsible adult.
I know I am.
But what you're missing is the human element. Most people, especially as you get older, you start to understand most people, the government,
Waste their
most
money.
people are broke because they're trying to look rich. Don't underestimate that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I co-signed it. I'm just saying I know how stupid people operate.
That's an unfortunate thing to have. I'm just praying to God VR doesn't become a closed garden. That's all.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I guess I was arguing that like the Facebook not being a closed garden thing is because you have to have that Facebook account like connected to it. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's fucking.
But you can modify it. It's way easier for you to.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. There is more customization. There is.
Yeah, you do get more. Yeah, the Facebook thing does suck. Yeah.
Freaking last piece of Sony news I got for you, more just like a tidbit, making people aware. If you are a cheater, you're done. Last year,
Oh, thank God.
Last year, Xbox banned the Chronos Zen device. You can use it. It's mainly popular in Call of Duty and 2K. It's now been banned on PlayStation. So if you're playing 2K on PlayStation and your best shooter on your team, when you go run fives, all of a sudden is throwing up bricks, there might be a reason why. The Zen no longer works. If you play Call of Duty with the boys, you play Warzone, and your friend's missing all their shots all of a sudden when they were a demon, a headshot demon before, there might be a reason why. It's officially banned on the Xbox and PlayStation. Be aware. Don't even try to cheat anymore because it ain't gonna work. How you guys feeling about PlayStation banning those cheater skills?
Good.
Fuck that thing. And so the thing is that the Cronus and all these other peripherals that are basically just cheating devices were very popular in Apex Legends, and because Respawn, the greatest developer ever, and EA, the greatest publisher ever, are so consumed with their work on the game that they couldn't ban these things. The game has crossplay, so you would be playing on PC, and then you would come across one of these losers who basically they have no recoil, they have recoil smoothing, they can basically have auto aim, and they have aim assist on top of all that. You would just get smoked. And I know a lot of people who quit the game because of this. So for this shit to finally just be gone and the issue to be solved is a godsend for anyone who's still crazy enough to play Apex.
I didn't even know it was popular in Apex. You made me aware.
Very, very popular.
Call of Duty
Makes me feel better about cheating. That's why I was losing. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, everybody was
that game, like unironically, Apex is infested with cheaters and people who are basically cheating by exploiting peripherals like that.
I was completely unaware of that.
all that Warzone shit. Yep, especially all those Warzone streamers. Like I'll see clips that like, you'll probably see it just randomly show up on your timeline, and you see footage like, flexing my muscle memory, and you're watching it like, am I old or like this is bullshit? Like there's no fucking way.
The way that those peripherals work is that it's basically a macro device, so you can program a button to do multiple functions. So basically, they program it to like spam certain keys, so then you just won't have recoil, or you'll aim very funky.
It'll move the thing down for you. The
exactly. Yeah, so it's like. And on top of that, they have aim assist because everyone coming over from console in multiple games, not just Apex, they all have aim assist when they play against PC players. So you're basically just playing against Terminators, and it's a horrible experience.
Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Let them die.
I will say, I think Warzone is still the worst because at least now that I'm aware they were cheating at Apex, at least they were hiding it because they were hiding it very well. In Warzone, I can't tell you how many. I know they've seen it in the group chat. I can't tell you how many times I was doom scrolling on TikTok, and then I get a live stream of somebody playing Warzone, and they're just openly cheating.
Just watching.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Fascinating to watch, and they'll be like, "Yo, selling the hacks in my link in the bio." I'm like, "What the fuck, bro?" They just don't care.
I'm just confused. Like, what happened to us? Like what happened to our society? What happened to gaming society where
Well,
like
I
this shit
think
got shunned? Like
Pro
when did
gamers
this
ruined
shift
it.
happen where like
Pro
everybody
gamers.
has
We
to do
talked
this?
about this. We talked about this. Pro gamers.
I think that if you cheat in a game, there has to be something broken with you. Not okay. Let me revise that. Not in a single player game. Obviously, if you cheat in single player, who gives a shit?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
If you ruin the experience of other players in a multiplayer game by cheating, there has to be something wrong with you. You must not have some sort of empathy, because playing against cheaters is probably it's the reason I quit Siege. Like, I played Siege for 5 years,
God.
and
True,
then that game became infested with cheaters. You couldn't play ranked, you couldn't play quick play, you couldn't play anything without playing
Operation
fucking
Health,
cheaters.
baby. Operation Health.
Operation Health. Apparently, not enough healing for that fucking game, and it's like, I think there genuinely has to be something wrong with you if you cheat in multiplayer games. Like, I would not want to be your friend.
I'm not saying it's the sole reason, but I think it's a key reason. Everybody wants to be MLG. Everybody wants to be pro. And it's like that pressure to do that shit. I don't know why, because it's a fucking video game. Like, I find it very strange, and you might be on to something. I think there's something wrong with these people, DX. Why do you feel more pressure to be a pro gamer than to update your job resume? Like, I don't understand that shit. Like,
Well, the thing is that, like, the internet has conditioned people to think that people who are really good at games legitimately get these huge followings. So people want their 15 minutes of fame. They want to be these pro gamers. And this was, I won't name names, but in the Apex community, there were people doing these fucking weird moves that you couldn't possibly, like, no human could do these moves. The only way you could do them was with configurations on Steam controllers.
And a bunch of Adderall.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, these people get huge followings, and naturally, because they have a very unique play style and they're getting a bunch of kills, but half these motherfuckers are cheating. So what happens is cheaters want careers in content creation, or they just want quick money. They don't want to go fucking work and update their resume, so they just start cheating. And because the internet is the way it is, you get people who want to do this for money, for like very quick money. That's it.
I remember this too, because I remember there was a whole controversy in the Warzone community. I think when 2 was out, right before 2 came out, I forgot who it was. There was some streamer. She was I forgot her name, but she was like doming people. Like she came out and
or something.
Nadia, right?
Yeah, and her whole thing was, and this was her personality was basically, oh, people are hating on me because I'm a girl, and I'm killing them because I'm a girl in Call of Duty, and they're just mad because I'm better. So she tried the whole like verse the sexes type of marketing. So she does this whole thing. And everyone, and there's like, obviously that's going to get you some vitriol from certain people online, because you know how they are, who are going to be like, oh, this woman's fucking cheating and da-da-da-da-da. And there's people who are like hyper analyzing her streams and her gameplay that like, I know she's cheating. Like, she has to be using a Cronus. There's no way she's good. Like, do you remember how back years ago, the original like, what was it called? Scandal was about, oh, I forgot her name. JG, you know who it is. I remember back when we were like very early YouTubers, there was a very popular girl who did Call of Duty gameplays. No, somebody else.
Girl Gone Gamer?
Yes. Remember how everyone was convinced that she had a boyfriend or a brother that was getting her gameplays, and it wasn't her. She was never her, and she had to do literal videos of her trying to like play, and they weren't convinced of that, and da-da-da-da. Like that whole thing. This is like the next evolution of it, where it's like, oh, well, if you don't have like a brother who's good at the game, now you got this little USB stick that you just plug into your device and you just do it. And I remember this because I think it was Activision called her or invited her out to play Modern Warfare. To an event for Modern Warfare 2. And I remember everybody was like, that was the stream everybody was like ready to watch, because like obviously you can't bring you can't put something into their system. So she went there and she was like, oh, I'm liking the game, da-da-da. But she was getting wrecked.
She was getting
like,
bodied,
getting bodied constantly. And if she was like kind of complaining, oh, it was my controller, oh, my keyboard wasn't connected correctly, oh, something's weird with the keys. Like, she was making constant excuses. And I was watching this and I was like, that's suspicious.
It's interesting because the way that those events work is that you're playing against people who they've invited, right? So
yeah, they're good.
A lot of skill in these multiplayer games that's front-facing to other people in the form of content is against shitters. Against like fucking 5-year-olds in lobbies that you've gotten into because you've either exploited the matchmaking or the matchmaking is terrible, like in Apex Legends by Respawn, the greatest developer ever. The matchmaking will be terrible. So when you get into these games, you face people who like they don't even play video games. Like, they're terrible at these games. So it really inflates our sense of, oh, is this person good at a game? Yeah, right. So like, they might not even necessarily be cheating. It could just be the game itself that has placed them in a situation where they're average, but everyone else they're facing is dog shit.
You think we've reached a point in time where like these new creators maybe are just unaware of the concept of like Christmas noobs? Like that was the best time for Call of Duty.
Yeah, right. Christmas.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like they don't realize they're dunking Christmas noobs and they think they're good at the game. Like,
well, it's like every month is Christmas now because there's so many more people playing
New people.
games, and the barrier to entry on all of these games is far lower than it was. Like if you wanted to play Halo 3, right, in like 2007, you had to have
Christmas.
You had to have parents who bought you the console, or you bought it yourself if you had a job, obviously. But like that was a lot of money. You don't need half that investment now to just play Apex or any of these other games that are free. So there's a lot more people playing these games, and that means a significant percentage of players who are just bad.
Yeah, that's facts.
This is true. I think it's good they banned it. That means it's gonna be less, but I mean I feel like there's gonna be something new that's gonna come out. It's banned on Xbox. It's banned on Xbox Place. They're gonna find.
Do you know the current future of like cheating right now? Like I'm really tapped into. I don't play it as much. I don't play Valorant a lot, but the biggest thing I think Valorant's like on the forefront of stopping cheaters. Like I think their anti-cheat is probably like on the cutting edge of like actually very good at detecting and finding them. The future now is using AI to program it to be able to like, so it feels like it's no longer an actual like macro or something like that. Like it's legitimately like regular human input, but it's an AI that's controlling. And it's a ghost. I watched like a whole video. It's basically like ghost hacking. There's no way a system right now can even figure out like that someone's doing it. It's like impossible to track.
Yeah, because what you need for cheating is inconsistent gameplay. The reason that there are so many like obvious cheaters is because their gameplay is perfect, and that's how like you can tell them apart from somebody who's like legitimately playing the game. The AI, what it does is I've heard that it creates flaws in your gameplay, but just flaws during non-critical moments. So when you're like, when the game doesn't ride on this kill or that kill, it'll have you die or whatever. So it can't really tell you're cheating because you're not just killing everyone in the lobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks more natural to you, but it's slowly like increasing your skill that like you're gonna win the crucial games, you're gonna win the crucial moments to make sure that you win the match. Yeah, it's crazy. It's
very, very crazy. Freaking. You know who else doesn't like cheating? Nintendo. Listen, I don't know if you guys heard the news, but you better not be cheating on Nintendo if you're a celebrity in Japan, because rumors are surfacing that Nintendo is pressing any notable figure in Japan supporting Palworld. What's this doing for you, Jay?
I mean, it's pretty wild. Like I thought that they were gonna be done, but apparently Nintendo was not playing. Yeah, I mean, going after celebrity, like just tell them not to. I mean, that's definitely on some old school Yakuza stuff, right? Like we're just talking about how Nintendo is still that. I think they're still tapped in with the Yakuza because that's literally how they started back in the day. So for them to be doing this, I'm just like, bro, like I don't know if they've noticed, but Palworld kind of lost a little bit of steam. So I don't think that they should still be attacked like that, especially going after other people.
To be fair, I feel like a lot of people are going with that narrative, and like people didn't read the articles about the Palworld stuff, because like if you just read the headline, it'd be like, oh, people moved on to Helldivers 2. Palworld is still more powerful than Helldivers 2.
Yeah. I mean, of course.
The headline would be like, Palworld lost a third of its audience. From what I read, it's still like 700,000 people still playing this concurrently. Like it's still wild. Yeah, that's still popular than most games, bro. So like Nintendo, I think, is still like threatened by them to some degree. But if this is actually true, this is fucking funny to me. Like
they just gotta drop an update. They drop an update for Palworld, people are gonna go back.
Well, make some good games, Nintendo. Like, how about you make a game that people actually want to play?
You should make a good Pokemon game.
How did you feel about Tears of the Frame Rate, DX?
I'm not. I will never buy a Nintendo console. I will never buy another Nintendo game because they treat everyone like shit, and they treat their own customers like shit. They never put their games on sale, so I will never be a part of the Nintendo ecosystem. And I will not pay for games that look worse than Oblivion, which came out in 2005. That they want to tell us are the problem. I feel like with Nintendo is that Pokemon gets treated worse than any of their other properties in terms of the quality of game that's released. And people used to think that Nintendo was kind of immune to this broken game release thing, but they're really not. I think that they just realized that certain games have to have a certain level of quality, and they have subsequently realized that Pokemon does not have to have a certain level of quality because people will buy that shit in droves anyways. Not only will Pokemon fans buy Pokemon games, they will fucking buy a second copy of that game that operates minimally differently than the version that they just bought. It's insane to me how many copies they sell.
And then you know what's crazy? They said, "Hey, we could do this for Fire Emblem."
yeah, exactly. So
for Fire Emblem.
Nintendo gets no sympathy from me, and if they're really doing this, then they're psychopaths, and they need to make better fucking games and stop complaining about competition that they created. By the way, I think that besides whatever quality Palworld is, a big part of that comes from a sort of grudge that people have against Nintendo for fucking up Pokemon the way that they have.
Nah, I agree with that. I mean, yeah, it does show that Nintendo is still threatened. Like they're still threatened at the end of the day. If you're taking these alleged routes to stop people from continuously talking about Palworld, then yeah, something else is going on behind the scenes that again we're not fully privy to in the public, because Nintendo does everything in the shadows. Like when they want to get something done, they'll get something done. So we'll see as this continue to develop. But I know that we were breaking this down in the last podcast, and we're talking about possible legal action, and Gene was saying that he talked to his lawyer friends, and he was like, I don't think that there's any way that Nintendo has a legal case. So if that's true, and that holds to be true, next upcoming months, years, however long that this goes on, and Palworld maintains relevancy in the video game world, then why not take it by force? Then Nintendo has to go to other measures to get Palworld up out of here. So you might see some bloodshed if they keep playing.
Instead of competing and making a better game, I would hate for them to take the route of we're just gonna try to get them up out of here.
Silence you. Yep.
That'd be whack.
By any means.
Freaking other Nintendo news, this is another rumor going around that apparently Nintendo is reaching out to studios and letting them know that they're delaying. It was supposed to release, the Switch 2 was supposed to release late 2024, but they're going to be delaying it to early 2025 Q1, and then the focus this year is going to be the release of that Peach game and then just all the other remasters they had. So basically it's going to be another quiet year for Nintendo. Does anybody care? Let's act like this is true. If it comes out in 2025, do y'all care?
No, don't care.
Nah.
I've already got the Steam 2. You want to see it? It's right here. See that? That's the Steam 2 right there. Right there. That's the Steam 2.
You need to wipe your screen off. What's the name?
Tell me what to do.
And then he wipes.
Do what I want my Steam Deck.
I just hope there's some good games. Wait, what? I want to know what games is going to be there. I feel like there's going to be a Breath of the Wild bundle, like a remaster
Zelda game.
They're gonna. I feel like they're gonna remaster Tears of the Kingdom, and it's gonna run at 30 frames, 720p on the Switch 2, and they're gonna eat that shit up.
Not.
Their remasters are whack too. They remastered.
This nigga's World War Nintendo, friend.
NDA,
well, okay, I can't even call it a
chess.
So they demastered their Super Mario collection, their Super Mario 3D collection, and they boosted the price to the same price you'd pay for a AAA game. And they effectively did nothing. So Super Mario 64, I think it was Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy, they re-released on Switch and did nothing. It's like a resolution bump and barely. I don't understand how they get away with this. Like if Ubisoft did this, there'd be articles for days about how they were so lazy.
Yeah, I think it's because the audience is different. That's why they can get away with it. You gotta keep in mind, like a lot of Nintendo fans wear Squid Kid hats and Luigi hats. They don't care. Like they're not super invested like in the hardware, because I mean that's kind of Nintendo's mantra anyway. So I think it's a different type of gamer. The people that play, obviously sometimes it intertwines, but like the hardcore Ubisoft person versus the hardcore Nintendo, that's the only thing I can think of. They just don't give a fuck. They're happy.
They're getting robbed. Those Nintendo fans are getting robbed.
That's and they're gonna keep getting robbed too, because they don't care.
I mean, Harriet Tubman said that she would have freed a lot more people if they knew they were slaves. Same concept.
On Black History Month.
Real shit. Maybe they're just unaware of like the other quality that's out of there, brainwashed. What's the name? Oh, here's an interesting one. Disney buys a $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games, which is interesting too, because from my understanding, I believe Tencent also has a stake in Epic Games as well. A lot of hands in the pot. And when asked why, they basically said they want to expand deeper into gaming. They think there's some interesting collaborations that could happen. I was interested by the response to this news. I saw a lot of positive takes on this, and to me, I'm not negative about it, but I'm kind of in the yellow about it, because like Disney doesn't have a great track record when it comes to making games. Several studios have been shut down because of them, and then Disney just hasn't been doing great. I mean, look what they've done with Star Wars. Look what they've done with the MCU. You talking about bringing these properties over, trying to make games with it. It's not a red for me. It's like a yellow. Like, I'll wait and see. I'm not like super excited about it. What you think, DX?
I actually think it's a really smart move from a publisher standpoint, because the way that a lot of sort of film and outside of the games industry people come into the games industry is that they license their products. Well, yeah, they suck because they suck because they license their products to like nobody's, right? They license their products and there's no real management of the property, which is what leads to a lot of shit games. I think that by buying an equity stake in Epic, I think that they are now more responsible than they would have been with, like, say, EA, right? They licensed Star Wars. They licensed Star Wars out to EA, and the thing that we got was that the debacle, Battlefront 2, right? Like, there clearly wasn't enough management on their side to say,
no.
Yeah, basically. So I think that it's a smart move from them, and it's an interesting one because I can't really recall a time where a film company has bought equity in a video game developer. Although I guess you can argue that at this point, Epic is not just, a games developer.
They are Ready Player One.
They're the metaverse, baby.
They are the metaverse. They are Ready Player One.
What you think, Jay?
I mean, I'm interested to see like what they're going to do. I'm hoping that this will be more than just, hey, we're going to put all of our characters from Disney into the Fortnite. Regular modes of Fortnite. Yeah,
they're already there.
We've seen. I know, right? And that's why I was even more confused. I'm hoping that it just doesn't stop there. I mean, $1.5 billion though, you have to do something else, right? I think that they're seeing what's going on with Lego, what's going on with their Rocket League mode, and they're like, hey, like we can have these other like one-off game, whatever the heck that they want to do within the ecosystem. We can now do those things, using the Unreal Engine or using the Fortnite engine in order to create a universe. I mean, we're just going to try to figure out what it is. Like, I don't think we're going to see Mickey, pulling up with the blicky now, like, shooting people up. Like, I think they're going to still, keep those type of IPs sacred, and they're not going to allow them to get out. But Star Wars, Marvel, like they can do those. They can continue doing those and put those in the regular mode. So we'll see what.
I think it's too small here.
I mean, yeah. Like
I know what they're gonna do.
Okay,
I didn't realize. I'll tell you. All right, I'm calling it. I'm willing to put money on this. Epic's worth $22.5 billion. They put $1.5 billion in them. That's pretty big. I guarantee you. Watch. Epic's gonna be hiring a lot of people soon. Disney is gonna want Epic to make a metaverse of Disneyland.
Yeah.
So that anybody, no matter where you are in the world, you can experience Disneyland online with your friends. And they're going to make literally a amusement park in the metaverse.
You mean like a game for like the headset, like the Quest or the Apple? Like where you just go in there?
It could be that, but I think it's going to be more like, how Fortnite has like points of interest, right? And you go, but the whole point of Fortnite is that you kill each other, right? But what Epic had been experimenting with the past couple of years is bringing live entertainment to people, right? And I noticed in that trailer, the thing that they're saying is they're talking about bringing other stuff like Disney Plus to Epic, to Fortnite, to Epic. What does that mean? Or to bring to some metaverse. I think what they're going to be doing is ways where it's like, hey, here's a video game where, hey, if you have a Disney, you connect your Disney Plus account to it, right? Now you have access to this metaverse. You can go watch with your friends, like the episode of Mandalorian here, and you can be in the different skins of all the different characters that you want to be. Do you want to go, like, just how the experience, like, when we went to Disney World, TBH, a couple years ago, like how, how the park was set up where it's like all these different things, like there's the Avengers campus, there's da-da-da-da-da. There will be a virtual equivalent to them, and they'll be able to experiment and do a lot more of that. And like, I guarantee you that's probably what they're aiming for. They're aiming for that, and then as time gets better, because I know I know a lot of people don't watch it, but I feel like a lot of people should. people that watch I forgot what they're called. It's called like Disney Imagination Day or something. It's where they basically have an entire, like, it seems like an investor type of like video presentation where they're talking about the different pieces of technology they're developing for the parks. And it's interesting because it gives you a hint into what Disney's, like, the technology they're developing that's unique. And they're very invested in immersion, and they're very invested in like VR, virtual augmented reality type of experience. That seems to be what they're aiming at. And I wonder if this is like a tie-in with Epic Games, because Epic is the actual like proof of concept of Ready Player One. It is the proof of concept of we got a metaverse that has people monthly logging into it. And they're only doing one, if you think about it, they're only doing one thing. But what has Epic done in the past 3 months? Oh, we have VR, we have a racing game, we have Guitar Hero, we're going to have NBA 2K in our game soon. So we're adding all these different experiences. The natural thing, if I was like Disney CEO, is, oh, can you make Disneyland in Unreal Engine? And Epic's like, yeah, just give us $1.5 billion, give us $7 billion, and we'll build the whole thing for you. I guarantee you that's where it's going to. So right now, this is probably like let's test the waters a little bit and give us some proof of concepts, give us some prototyping ideas. And then when we really start to like collaborate even deeper, now we're talking about the big picture of what Disney wants, which is going to be
What's the temperature
massive.
on that? Do you feel like people would really like that type of stuff?
Yes. Do you know Disney fans? They will absolutely love
Disney
that.
adults,
You're telling me did those Disney adults would kill for an opportunity to be in Disney World every single day of their lives,
Shit
and
is
they
about
can
to
just
get
do it by law and
weirder.
computer?
Trust me,
Yes.
I'm down here
They're
in
gonna do that.
Orlando. My wife is in the groups for like Disney pass holders.
They will
These
love that
Negroes
shit.
are
Yes.
crazy, bro.
They're
They get upset when there are blackout dates and they can't get into the
Yep.
park.
And
I
then
don't have
other
a
people,
fast pass on the ride.
Yeah, these people go to the parks 3 or 4 times a week, and you heard that right, a week.
God.
And they're adults.
Imagine TBH in the future. Remember those wristbands, right? Now imagine if they incorporate the technology where you go to the physical park, right? You're getting that merch, right? Now you're buying digital items also at that there, and or you buy the physical item, and now you get the virtual version of it for your character in the meta world. It's synergy, baby. It's synergy. It's all part of it. I feel like that dude I feel like the dude with the whiteboard with all the crazy lines and shit. Like, it's all connected. It's all part of the big plan.
It all
I agree.
makes sense.
I do agree with you from a yellow standpoint, because I'm not gonna lie, they've been kind of doing some. I don't think I've been really fucking with some of the shit they've been doing with Star Wars and shit. Yeah, I don't like what they've been doing with some of the Star Wars stuff. Some of the Star Wars stuff they're doing with Mandalorian, that stuff's cool, but some of it's like the sequel shit. The Marvel shit's been kind of I don't even fucking know now. I've been so
Deadpool saves the
disinterested.
day.
Yeah, hopefully Deadpool saves their lives. But I think at the end of the day, I agree with what JG's saying. The fandom of Disney, we're just thinking of Marvel and DC. You got to remember think of the children. Like, think of JG's kid. JG, if you told your kid that they can go to Disney World in the Fortnite, universe like Fortnite, I'm pretty sure kids are gonna lose their minds about that.
Yeah,
like,
my
get to
daughter
hang out
probably
with
steal my PC and
Yeah.
make me download Fortnite just
play it
so
on
she can
Switch.
See.
Yeah, or like, I get to play
an
with
Xbox Series S.
Yeah, I get to throw snowballs with what was the girl from Frozen? Whatever her name was. Yeah, Elsa and Olaf. Like, yeah, they would kill for that. Yeah, the kids would absolutely love that. And they're gonna use that credit card. They go ding 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 ding. They gonna spend them V-Bucks.
Interesting.
Damn, so you saying that they do that, then I'm gonna be broke.
You're broke. Hey, hide your credit card, because that shit's gonna max out in a month. If that comes out, AG, cancel your credit card. Yeah,
that's why I don't have sex. It'll make you broke.
Hey man, I did it twice. I can't say nothing.
He said that shit no joke.
Oh shit. Oh my god. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm curious to see what's the timetable when they actually announce something of what they're working on, because you can't just be like, oh, we spent almost $2 billion. Like, you're gonna have to, like, we need to know. Put your cards on the table. What you doing with
5
it?
years before we hear something. Probably a decade before we truly see it become something actually real. That's my guess. If they do it right. If they try to rush it, or they try to we'll just put it in Fortnite, won't take that long. But if they try to do their own separate actual game, it'll probably be a decade experiment.
I'll tell you this much. I better not see any layoffs at Epic Studios, because you guys are gonna look real
They
crazy.
better not. After that,
You just got
They
like
better
a
not-
$1 billion front. Where'd that
You better
money
not
go?
lay off anybody. You better hire back everybody that you laid off last
Yeah,
year.
I'm about to say 'cause they just did it.
Yeah,
So,
you need to put people back in after
Hey,
that.
that I think about it, that's crazy because you don't
That's
just
gotta
sign,
piss me off.
you don't just sign a $1.5 billion deal. That was years in the making.
Yeah.
And you knew that
Yeah,
shit was
yeah,
coming, and then
they
you
knew
laid
that it was
people off.
coming, yeah.
You had money, like that's crazy.
no,
but to be-
you know what they're doing? Those going right
Yep.
up to the up.
Yeah.
I think I need a raise. I think I need a raise. Like,
You know?
fuck
But
outta here.
don't forget too, on the other side of that coin, you could end up like Embracer Group and flop
God.
and fail on $1 billion deal and then have to fire everybody because you fucked up the deal. You failed to make the deal with the Saudi Arabians. So I mean, it could have been either or. They could have thought they had it and then they dropped it like, oh shit, we fucked up. We fucked up the biggest deal of our lives. So
It's gonna be interesting to see how this one plays out. We're gonna be keeping our eye on what Disney and Epic are doing.
you think Epic cares?
if they fail or not?
No, Apple. Do you think Apple, because they were all about suing each other right now, do you think this maybe throws a wrench into the whole, like, we're going to block the thing, and now it's like, well, now Disney has a stake in us now. Do you think Apple's going to be like, maybe we gonna, tie off, maybe we'll break bread and, let bygones be bygones?
Yeah, they got a big dog on their side.
Yeah.
Now. They can battle Apple. Yeah, I can see that
talks.
affecting things. Yeah.
Because Epic could be like, if we make this, if Apple doesn't, open up or do something, we're not gonna put it on iPhone or something like that, and they'll be like, ooh, that's
we need
Disney.
that Disneyland.
We do need that
metaverse.
Disney. Yeah, we want that.
That would
Yeah, it
work
would be
well with
perfect
our
for their-
headset.
Yeah, for the VR. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
Only time will tell. Only time will
Yep.
tell. This one was interesting as well too. Freaking this headline is crazy. Immortals of Avium proves it's a grim time for single player games.
Yeah.
The gist of this, I know.
Yeah.
Can I read? Can I read?
I know. Go
No,
ahead.
don't even read it. Don't even read it.
Okay,
Cap.
I'm just gonna summarize it. The gist of the article is they interviewed some
Of course,
developers.
it's Kotaku.
Yeah, of course. The headline's awful because it actually has nothing to do with the article. It's just some bullshit as sensationalized.
right.
The article is about they interviewed some people that worked on the Immortals of Avium, and they were saying basically it cost $120 million to make. It was hard to recoup the money, and they were kind of saying single player games are not in a good place. They need to scale back and spend less, which I do agree. We do need to experiment more, maybe more smaller budget titles. But I'm gonna keep it a buck here. Your game failed because it fucking sucked. It had nothing to do with it being $120 million. Didn't nobody want to play that shit. And to
Yeah,
blame
you
it on
could have hired me. I could have told you that wasn't worth $120 million.
freaking EA didn't promote it either. So like what
Yeah,
JG said is cap. I was like, this is a crazy statement. And they specifically said single player shooters are in a bad space. What? Like
No, wait. What dropped? There was a big game that dropped the same window that this game dropped. What was that? Do you remember?
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's
3.
Gate, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they got cooked. Yeah,
I literally
that-
looked it up and I was like,
Yeah.
what came out around that time? Baldur's Gate 3 killed it. It stepped on
Yeah,
it so
that
bad.
killed it. Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
Did they bring that up in here? I wonder. Did they ever say Baldur's
Doom
Gate?
Eternal came out. I don't even know why they said that shit. Like single player shooters are fine. Your game sucks. Like I played it. It was color overload. It was sensory overload. It was.
I'm not gonna
really
lie.
generic.
I will say, unless I'm not thinking of a game, I think the FPS single player area has kind of died after BioShock. Like, can you think of a first person single player
Creativity.
game?
I mean, you get the Titanfall 2 in there if you want.
Okay,
That game flopped.
I think yeah, it flopped.
Yeah, sales wise, yeah.
Granted, there's other reasons. It wasn't just because it was that, but I'm saying I'm talking about specifically single player FPS experiences where the game is a first person shooter and it's like a very narrative game like BioShock Infinite was. Like,
Yeah.
when was the last time a game like that?
Wolfenstein.
Has come out.
And
I was about to say, wasn't that
Wolfenstein
deep, but
last
Wolfenstein was kind of.
And Doom
there.
was Wolfenstein Doom the only
Wolfenstein
last
and
ones?
Doom, yeah.
Are those like the only bastions left? Like, there's no other single player shooters like that now? Are they all just
I get what you're going at, but if that's all the data we have to work on, then I can still make the argument your game just wasn't good because we're comparing two good games to one bad.
That is true.
I think the reason, here's the thing, like gamers will forgive a lot, like, and when you buy something, even though there's more ways of knowing if something is bad now, you still bought the product, right? So I think that the failure of that game was really marketing. Like the name is terrible, the marketing was almost non-existent, which by the way, in that article, they say that EA spent $40 million on the marketing, so the development
go?
budget. Yeah,
I barely
EA
saw it in commercial. I will admit I did
saw it
see
in
some commercials
commercial.
on it when it came out, but
Yeah.
that was when it came out. It wasn't before. It was
Yeah.
right
There
when
was
the
no
game
hype
came
up
out.
to it. I think it
Yeah.
was just the EA had. I think it was on the Xbox conference. I think for one of their things
I
they showed
remember
it,
seeing, yeah.
and that was the only time I ever saw it. I didn't see it being propped up.
When I
anywhere
streamed
else.
it, people were like, "This game's out." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, like I
think
played,
there
like
was
we
no
both played it.
marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that there is truth to what they say in a sense where like the budgets have definitely gotten out of control because $120 million
That's
for a
insane.
game like that's insane, but that's actually on the scale of AAA games, that's like kind of low. Like Cyberpunk was made for like $330 million. That game is that almost triple the budget of that game, and it's like,
How much was Ragnarok? I think God of War also had a big budget, didn't it?
I think that average games have been completely priced out of the market. You cannot make an average AAA game anymore because it just won't work. People won't buy it and then it'll flop, and you've still spent like $120 million making it.
Yeah, I was talking about that on stream. It feels like gaming is reached a point where it's a reflection of actual society and our economics. There's no middle class anymore.
Ragnarok was double that. It took. They cost around 200 million to make God of War, Ragnarok, and Baldur's Gate took a budget of over $100 million to make.
This game would have worked well like on the Xbox 360. This is not. It has triple.
Yeah, exactly.
It has
Yeah.
triple
So this-
investment, but it's a double A game in terms.
So
of
this
quality.
game
It's
had
really
100
average.
So this had the same amount as Baldur's Gate, but I'm assuming that's not fair because you said how much of it was thrown towards marketing, so it wasn't actually
40 million.
100.
So it was like 80 million. 80
So 80
million for the
million.
actual dev budget. Yeah.
Was the 100 mil from Baldur's Gate all like just specifically development money, or was it like marketing? They marketed Baldur's Gate, right?
That
Like,
game was
I can't remember,
heavily marketed. I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw like outside of just the word of mouth. I feel like I saw that game everywhere I went.
Everywhere. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember how much to do that.
And going back to Immortal
Yeah,
Ethos
that's
and
insane.
yeah, did y'all play the game?
Yeah, I put.
I have not played
I just checked my my Steam to make
That
sure.
intro
I put
was so
3 hours
boring
into
in
it.
that game.
Like
It
yeah,
was so
the
boring.
story started off so freaking boring. I was already
Yeah, it's boring.
uninterested. I did not like the main character, and at the end of the day, it was an average battle mage game. Like it did nothing innovative. It did nothing. It did nothing different from any of the other battle mage games that I played. So like, you
Also-
really have to.
Wait, what other battle mage games are there?
There was another one.
I feel like
There's
Hogwarts
Lichdom
did what I
Battle Mage.
wanted. Yeah,
I mean,
that too.
Hogwarts was kind of. I mean, it was third person.
I feel like
It was
the wizard fix of like flinging spells. Like I feel like I got it already with Hogwarts, and I was like, all right, I'm satisfied by this. And then this game was like, oh, it's first person, and I was kind of like, this feels more like a shooter than me like flinging spells. Like it felt more like I'm just shooting
years
shit.
ago. Oh,
It was like-
Lynchdom Battle Mage.
Yeah,
Do y'all remember that game?
Lichdom, yeah, I had
Nah,
that
I
game.
don't
I've
think I
played.
That game was actually pretty good for a Battle Mage game.
Yeah, the
I
thing
don't
is,
know.
there's not that many of them. There's like that Dark Messiah game.
Oh, I did buy this game. What the fuck? I
But
never
there's
played
just not many of them in the market. I don't
Hey.
think it's a popular genre.
Well, here's a hot take
It's really not known.
question: is Skyrim a battle mage game?
No,
It's not. If I do a full mage build, is it still not a battle mage game?
that game's mage systems suck. So
Is Elden
would
Ring
say
a battle
no.
mage game? I mean, JG had a battle mage.
No, it's not a fucking battle mage game. Because you do a
Like a
fucking
crack
battle for
rock
40
block.
hours. Because you were slinging crack for fucking 40 hours. No.
Freaking I remember that story being like really generic and boring. It was like, oh, the evil magic army is coming to take the kingdom. We
Yeah,
have to fight
right,
them.
yeah.
I'm like, this third grade ass story. Get this shit
What
out
blows
of
my
here.
mind about this shit like this? It's like I don't understand how a game like this can end up with this amount of money doing
Yeah, right,
like
right.
this level of quality and being like no one at any point stopped it. No one said hold up or said wait, we need to fix or we need to make an adjustment here. Like it just I don't know if maybe it happened, it was too late, or they're just like we didn't care. We just like people
Well,
like
sometimes
I don't know.
sometimes when games actually like because the amount of games that get canceled
Yeah, it's a
before
lot.
anyone hears about them is insane. And the reason that sometimes those games get canceled is because there's no significant progress on them. So if you have a competent development team delivering milestones constantly,
Even if it's not amazing.
yeah, even if it's not an amazing game, that is still a success in and of itself because of how many games get canceled in pre-production. So it's more than likely that it was just a competent developer who made an average game, and EA saw it and they're like, well, we have no reason to cancel this because they're not costing us an obscene amount of money. But at the same time, no one looked at it and said, this game's gonna flop. Like I feel like especially today,
There's
games that come out and have flop written all over them, and this was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely games like that. You just see them and you're just like, I feel
like
like I
Foam
know
Stars.
this game's good. Yeah.
I almost feel bad for Foam Stars, and I'm gonna tell you why, bro. Because in that game,
Didn't they give
first
you
announced-
something?
Yeah, they sent me like a plushie or whatever. I gave it to my dog. He tore it up like a day later. I feel bad for that game because like I think they thought it was gonna do good because like one thing I will give it is they were memeing the fuck out of that game, bro. Like my whole chat, we're about to foam it up. Yeah, I'm so excited to be a foamer. It was all on Twitter. The game comes out, I was the #1 streamer on it, and within a week, nobody was playing that shit, bro. I'm like, this game. I was like, y'all cap as fuck. Y'all just making jokes, but y'all didn't really download and play that game.
And I really hate saying stuff like that because, like, I again, at the end of the day, I don't want any game to fail.
Yeah,
but
exactly, right.
We've been talking about like games for so long, and we played so many games that we
tell.
just know at this point
Yeah.
when a game is not going to do good, or if it starts off decent, like it has a decent fan base. The developers or studios, spend the money to either for marketing or getting streamers, influencers to play it, and then and the game hypes up, for like a week or so. But like we can see the writing on the wall when a game is going to be good or not. So it just is what it is, and we already knew from day one that it wasn't going to be good, and here we are. But just saying that, you just sound like a bad guy. But again, we freaking know, man.
I think that game had the exact same issue as Suicide Squad, where it effectively priced itself out of the market, because it's not just that it had no marketing, it was a fully priced game, and it's like people are not going to pay modern day prices for these games that are just average. Like it's such a hard sell for people to tell them pay $70 for this game that is like at best a 7 out of 10 and at worst like a 4.
And Fortnite's free, has a ton of value.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so many games that are free today that it's like every game is effectively competing with each other, even if they're not games that are in the same genre, because the value today that publishers are looking for is not just money, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And we're not getting a reverse of it either. Like I'm trying to remember, like, because I remember like a game like this I would have said back in the day is like back when like the 360 era was like games like oh man, this is gonna be a shock to people who remember Spec Ops: The Line and like Binary Domain, which I feel like these are games very in a similar space where it's like you could look at them and be like, yeah, this isn't gonna be uber successful, but they actually like you felt like they had they were actually pretty cool. They were really good games, but they just didn't get the attention, or they just didn't have that appeal that like the masses would want. But I feel like it's reversed now, where now it's just like we're building average games, we're charging the full pricing for them, and we're just hoping, maybe I think a lot of these publishers or people who are publishing these type of games, they're just they're just like, oh, we probably know we're not going to recoup on this. This is just going to be an L. But who cares? Because Apex Legends is giving us goddamn $3 billion a month. So we can take the L on this game. Who cares? Because our live service game is filling the gap for the loss, so we're fine. Like I feel like that's what it's become now because of live service.
I don't know how true that is for Apex.
I hope they're not. I look every day. I pray for that game's now.
Well, hey, you don't have to pray.
Everybody apparently bought their Final Fantasy.
Bro, I pray on that game.
Dead box.
I pray on that game's downfall every morning, bro.
The last 2 seasons of that game have underperformed. EA came out and said it, that they've underperformed.
Yeah, I quit that shit.
Good. Let's hope they stop and they actually. I seen that Mandalorian fucking rumor. Let's focus on that in Titanfall. How about that? EA.
Freaking I forgot I didn't put it on the notes, but did y'all play the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo?
I did.
Did you like it, Jay?
Yeah. From what I played so far, I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
I'm not hyped for it. I'm weird.
Playing with Sephiroth was freaking. He was killing it.
It was fun, but it's definitely the same game. Like
that's what I was going to ask you.
You're playing more for the story.
Just,
it feels like an extension.
this
too.
The same game that we played years ago, just now with new story and shit. Like there's nothing new mechanically.
I mean, it's a continuation. I mean, but that's what we expected, though. I don't expect it to be a new game, so this is exactly what I wanted. So yeah.
Yeah, I still have to beat the first one. I got pretty far into it on my Steam Deck. I just have to finish it. So.
I got a couple, because this one's getting long. I got a couple quick hits from y'all. Y'all let me know if y'all care about these joints. Reputation system's been confirmed to be in Star Wars Outlaw. That's the new Ubisoft game. Don't care. Okay.
And I think that's cap too. We've seen that before.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's cap anyway. They lied.
Reputation altering the story. Yeah, we've seen that song in that before. We'll see.
I feel like they're gonna let you choose your dialogue, but it's not gonna affect nothing.
No.
And then also Naughty Dog confirmed that their next game will not be The Last of Us 3. They're working on something different, maybe Uncharted 5, huh? Or The Last of Us 3 remastered.
Better be a new IP, man, because I swear.
I swear to God, if I hear the word remaster coming from them again,
if I hear anything Last of Us related, like I don't want to hear anything out of Naughty Dog for another few years.
I'm so sick of that IP, man.
Oh my God, The Last of Us 3 remaster coming out before the first game. I'm calling
before the actual game.
I hope it's a new IP too. Jokes aside, y'all talking about The Last of Us? I'll lose my shit if we get an Uncharted. I'm like, really, bro? I'll let it go, dog.
I'll be upset too if it's Uncharted. Can y'all make something new?
Man, I know.
Now they're becoming like a one-trick pony.
New is risky.
Okay, how about Jack? Can I get Jack? Can I get Jack for now?
I'd argue at this point in timeline, Jack might be risky too because the kids don't know Jack. We know him, but the kids don't know him.
You think they could reboot it successfully if they try?
Reboot Jack. Just reboot it.
Yeah, just reboot it.
Series.
Possibly.
Because ain't no point in continuation.
Just call it Jack. Jack and Dexter. Just call it Jack.
But didn't they do that already? Didn't they just make a Jack game?
Didn't they have one of those?
They remastered it, but it was terrible. The port was terrible.
Yeah.
I don't
Jacking
think
off by Naughty Dog.
Yeah, or just give Dexter his own game or something like that. I don't fucking know. Just something else. I agree with you. I don't want to hear no Uncharted nothing. I don't want to hear no Last of nothing.
The Drake's back,
Nathan
baby.
Drake.
Yeah, we talking about franchises that TBA changed, bro.
You guys are joking, but I've heard rumors for a long time now that Uncharted 1's getting a remake. Like,
my God, I heard that shit.
I've seen that rumor too.
Oh,
bro.
if that shit ends up being what it is. Oh my, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna
block Naughty Dog on Twitter.
Yeah, I actually would block them on Twitter after that.
Fucking kidding me, dude. Oh,
really remaking the first one? Now we're gonna remake 1 and 2 and 3. And we're gonna remake 4. Like, nah, I'll lose my
mind. You can really blame Sony for this because a large part of Sony's remastering efforts are not just for the consoles. It's also to revitalize the games to put them on PC because they've shown that you get higher attachment rates to remasters and remakes than you would of the original games.
Yeah, people are buying them, which fucking sucks.
Well, I said, man, I'm playing the fans. If you keep buying it, they're going to keep doing it. I mean, it's simple math.
I mean, that is why the CEO of Naughty Dog came out and said, I don't understand what's all the negativity on Twitter. You guys are buying it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, people complain on Twitter. Yeah, and then it sells.
Like, Twitter is a lie, boy.
And then Twitter's like, everybody else is like, go do it. Like, you're not even getting mad at it because you know it's true. Like, you're talking about you.
Yep.
It is what it is, man.
I'm still going to hate.
Yeah, facts.
A lot of hate in the heart. We gonna still preach the message. Eventually, people will see the light. I mean, I had posted a comment on one of my recent YouTube videos, and they said, "I'm glad that I gave stuff a chance." He's like, "I used to be a Madden and 2K dude," and he's like, "Recently, I got like 100 hours on Ghost of Tsushima. I got 60 on Jedi Survivor." He's like, "I finally seen the light. I'm finally starting to listen. We got to keep preaching the word. Maybe these people will try different games, man. Maybe they will try
different, bro."
But that's all I got on my show notes. Do you guys want to add anything else to the conversation before we wrap this one up? We're going outside, dude. I promise.
God, no.
No. All right. Well, DX, you are our guest. What is your closing statement for Gaming Illuminati episode 152? Go.
Thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you to everyone who suggested that I come on here. You guys are the best.
Hey, and if you guys want to check out his YouTube channel and all his content, follow him on social media. Links to all that will be in the description box below. Ethos, what's your closing statement for 152? Go.
I'll leave you guys with the most important question that came out of all the discourse this week. Is X-Men going woke? There you go.
Yo, shut the fuck up.
Hey, look, man, they took the cheeks away, bro. We saw it. They
took Rogue's cheeks away. I'm upset.
Can I just say I am happy we've reached a point on the internet where like people are starting to see the grifters, and they're starting to see like, yo, shut up, bro. Like,
shut the fuck up.
The people are starting to turn on the go woke, go broke people. Like, you people are annoying too, bro. Oh my god,
fuck up.
Extremism is annoying.
Like, we're past that era. Shut up, bro.
Jay, what's your closing statement for 152? Go.
Hey, look, we still in Black History Month, so let's keep repping that. It's not forget where we came from. Shout out to DX. Appreciate you for responding to the DMs. And yeah, it was a crime that we haven't invited you. I don't know why. Like, I feel like we have certain people who like we're close to in the community. We're like, damn, why didn't we ask you? So
I could have sworn we did one like years ago. We never did.
Oh, apparently not. No, I don't think so. So So yeah, I appreciate that, and again, huge shout out to the community for suggesting DX. Like I said, he's been an amazing guest and a long time friend of the Gaming Illuminati. So so you're welcome back anytime. But I appreciate you for coming on for this episode.
Thanks so much.
And if you made it to this part of the episode, if you made it to the end, comment in the comment section below hashtag where's DX camera. Other than that,
where's the Mass Effect video? Or is X-Big
other than that, that's all we got for you. We appreciate you guys for listening to the show. This is once again almost another 3-hour episode.
They'll be
If
very
you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button. That's how it keeps us motivated. Please share it, and we will see you guys on the next episode of the Gaming Illuminati podcast. I gotta go walk my dog. Peace.